We are live. We are live. We are live. Yes, it is Wednesday night and it is a Pontificators night. As always, we have a dandy show, a killer show, a badass mofo of a show for you guys. We got the usual suspects, but we also have a great guest star. We have Chris Waz. I think he just goes by Chris Waz, but he's a comic book veteran, and he's got a little bit of he's got some issues, as a lot of us do, with the mainstream comic book company and probably Hollywood as well. So if you guys haven't been following, he's got a Batman story that he wrote, and he says that it's pretty much the same story that they used in the last Batman movie. So we're going to get into more detail on that. Pretty much just give him the floor, because I find it absolutely captivating. And I do believe I worked with this chap in the day, way back when. So we got a sign of life. Harumph, two ? Hi, Art. To what? To what? I have no idea. So as always, you guys, show a sign of life in the chat. We are going to have a good time, probably about 2 hours. I know there's a lot of competition tonight, but we do appreciate you coming by and hanging with us for a few hours. So let me introduce Clint Alinsky.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah. How have you been, brother?
I'm doing well. Enjoying summer. Beautiful weather, 75, sunny, drawing my comics that Comics Kid has blessed me with. Just kicking back, talking to my friends who are freelancers, and they're just like, they're so envious.
Yeah,
so
freedom.
All my freelance buddies are like, I'm hunting down editors, I'm trying to do this and that, and I'm like, man, I've got my fan base. I love my fan base. I love CG. I'm doing my books all summer. Got more books planned. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, Art.
It's freedom. It's freedom. I'm so glad you're here with us. Let me introduce my partner in crime, Todd Mulrooney. How are you,
Todd?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
Everybody good? I got some good news. Couple good news.
Oh, good.
Working on that I was doing some trading cards, and they were called the Supernatural Wrestling League.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was always eventually going to be a comic, but now it's got more involved, and publishers are involved and stuff. So it definitely is going to be a comic. So I'm creating all 100 characters that are in this deck as fast as I can.
That sounds fun.
Are those the ones
Not
that
that
you've been posting? Have you been posting those?
Yeah. Not that all 100 characters are going to be in the story, but which ones ever make sense to the story will be featured, and some of the other ones will just be in the background.
Well, if we have time later, we'll show those off, because I want to get to our special guest as quickly as possible.
Hail leg kick, hail harumph.
Let's bring Pedro Ing into.
How are you doing, guys?
Pedro.
Hey, I take notes. I was accused of being the dark man in the dark room, so now I turn on the lights.
Nice.
Good.
So,
That's the start. Now we can see you.
yeah, exactly.
If you can see the whites of Pedro's eyes, you're too close.
Yeah.
Well, has your country burned down yet?
No, the thing is, like, we idle at 75 miles per hour, so things are starting to work with the riots alongside. So people just get back to work, and they just, avoid rocks.
People got to blow off steam.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, Panama is making a lot of news these days.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pivotal part of the world and strategically speaking, it may be up for grabs. I don't know, man. There's some serious shit going on in the world.
Oh yeah, the whole thing with the Panama ports. Yeah, the Panama ports is, if you grab like two buildings, that's the area of Panama ports. So you can't really make a Chinese base there. But yeah, there's one Panama port on the Pacific and one Panama port on the Atlantic. So if the Chinese get like, I don't know, creative, they can block up the canal. But dude, that's so easy to nuke. I don't know.
Well, let's hope it doesn't get to that. We got Jay Williams. What's up, man? We're getting some people in to join the party. All right, man. Here is our special guest. We got Chris Woz. So, Chris, how do you say your last name properly? Is it
Wozniak, like Steve Wozniak,
like the computer guy, right?
Yeah, but we're not related, as you can see.
Too bad, man. You might be doing better right now financially. Yeah. Actually, I don't know how you're doing financially. So.
Well, I do a lot better if the Batman guys would pay me, but
I hear you.
We're working on that one,
brother. So usually we get into like hot topics and stuff like that. We have the Batgirl story and some of the Warner Brothers stuff, but I think we're going to save that and see if we have time for that later. I really do want to get into your story, Chris, and get into the detail. I find it fascinating. And I'm sure that there are people in the chat and definitely people on the panel that will be able to relate to creative people being exploited, used, and even stolen from. So I'm gonna let you tell your story because you're gonna do way better than I would. So but before we get into the story, I'm sorry. Let's get into like your backstory. So you're a comic book artist, writer. Take it.
Me? Yeah. Started at DC as an inker in the mid 80s. And then they pushed me into penciling. I penciled for a while, did some Marvel stuff and everything. And, got out of comics for a long time after the collapse. I just went into art directing. I was in Manhattan, was doing art directing and everything. And another topic that, we might get into, but like for about 8 years after that, I had my own comic company that I was co-owner of that had a lot of Marvel and DC guys working there. Shooter worked there for a bit. Rubenstein, Jose Marzan, Chris Batista, Saltares, Tex, Breeding, guys, real guys.
Well, I remember when you came on the scene, I believe I was working at DC on the Superman books. And I remember Mike Carlin saying, you got to check this guy out, Chris Wozniak. And it was really stylized, if I remember. And I think or two of yours. And Mike was really hot on you. This must have been like mid 80s,
maybe late 80s or something, or
mid late 80s, probably more late 80s, early 90s. No, it couldn't have been that late.
Well, I think the first job that Carlin gave me, I think, was a Teen Titan annual that Garzan inked or something, and I know Marv wrote it, and George inked the cover that I penciled. But we're going back.
When did you break into?
I would say 86.
Okay, that sounds about right. Yeah, because I think I was in the Superman office around that time, and I'm starting to flash back. I think it was it was Clark, and he's kind of coming out of a window, and he's pulling, and he's revealing the
I
costume.
Did a little work in the Superman office too. I don't remember the exact book.
I think that's the piece I inked, and then there's some doves or something flying off of the windowsill.
Probably, yeah. Like I did some inventory covers, and I think a couple of annuals or something, and not a ton of Superman work, but and Mike was right. I had potential, but I also had ADHD and had trouble staying at the drum board all day, and still have. So I mean, and that in a way, swerves into the Batman thing because, I was trying to purposely get out of drawing and I want to write because writing is easy for me. I have no issues with it. I knock it out, and it's not like, it doesn't take the time that a drawing takes. Right. I'm not fast. I've drawn some comics very, very fast. I mean, I think the last schedule-wise, we had such an issue. I think the last issue of Excalibur that I drew was done in 5 days with a cover. And, obviously nobody wants to be drawn. Kyle Baker can, not me. That's
Kyle Baker's style is a little different than yours.
I used to hang with Kyle in those days. We were drinking buddies. And Kyle is a phenomenon. I mean, I remember one night we were out in the village, just bar hopping all night, and we must have hit 8 bars or something. And we went home 3, 4 in the morning, and then I went home. I couldn't sleep, and so the sun comes up, and I'm still awake. I'm gonna walk back to the village. I'll go to the Forbidden Planet, because I used to go there Saturday mornings to pick up comic shops.
That's a killer shop, man. That
it was in those days. It was wonderful when it first opened. It was the best shop in the city. But I ran into Kyle Baker on the corner with a FedEx package, and I went home, just couldn't sleep, and then I came back, and Kyle had a whole package under his arm. He went home and inked an entire issue over Ron Wilson in 6 hours, and it was like, yeah, I'm gonna FedEx this. I was like. And I'd seen him do that a number of times. I was in this house once where Marvel called. They wanted some ad for a book. And he was like, okay, send a messenger. And then he got a pencil out and penciled and inked the ad before the messenger knocked on his door. But to even think I would have panicked, and he had no problem with it. He's a phenomenon.
Well, that's why some guys, you see them, they're there month in and month out. I mean, it's a different type of personality that can sustain that. I have almost 40 years logged in, but I couldn't do it as a penciler. I broke in as a penciler and inker on the same day. I started working as an inker at Marvel and a penciler at DC. And penciling, it was heart and soul. I got invested a little too much, because the story and the characters and all that. And I had a real hard time distancing myself from that. So I got, way too into staging and the character and all that stuff. And it took more time than it should have, because I couldn't really detach myself from the work. But as an inker, I could,
right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I didn't have the same investment. And so I was able to ink twice as fast as pencil. And as well as any of us, that at points it's just about survival. You have to pay the mortgage. You have to pay the rent.
Yeah. I admire anybody that could draw monthly on a regular basis, like we did in those days. Guys that, someone like Walt, who was penciling and inking,
and writing sometimes.
Yeah, writing. Yeah, almost all the time.
John Byrne.
Month out, John Byrne, forget it. 3 books a month. I mean, in his day. I think of the Great Byrne period as 78 to, 80. That's that super peak where he's just untouchable, and he was doing 3 books a month then, and that's stuff.
Some of those he was writing as well. Yeah,
I still pull that stuff out. It makes me 15 years old. I see that stuff and I'm like, wow, that is. That I open a book and then the lights go on.
You know what? I'm re-experiencing that stuff right now. I think it was Comic Book Bob or somebody on this Pontificators show that brought up that Byrne right now is just labor of love doing that X-Men stuff. And if anybody out there hasn't seen it, it's free. Just go type it in and just get knocked out. This is a guy well past his prime, still fucking hitting it like he was 20 something
and getting better at it. Like when he first started doing the new X-Men stuff that he was doing, basically it's fan fiction, right? And Marvel should have done something with it. I don't know why they wouldn't, but it wasn't like old Byrne where he was just in the pocket and he got looser as he moved on in his career and everything. But even on the X-Men stuff now, he's starting to going back to actually being a penciler, before there's inking involved. And I think that's a strong suit. And I love the Fantastic Four stuff. Love it.
Oh, I dig that. With what was it? Ordway inking, right?
Yeah, but initially, John was inking, and that was his first time inking a monthly.
Ordway cleaned that shit up.
Forget it. Jerry is awesome, and Jerry's another guy. Two finished pages a day, like clockwork, and that's pencils and inks.
He's really disciplined.
His Superman work is amazing. But Byrne would knock that stuff out. But when he was doing FF though, I just wished, I lamented that he was inking. I just wanted to see him pencil because he was the best there ever was at it. It was just John Byrne in that day was untouchable. He was the best, and and his inking is good, and so you can see in the IDW collections and everything. It's fine. It's great. It's really nice stuff. But I just missed him being that guy, the best penciler. And I just, thought if he had just kept concentrating on that, that, and maybe just gotten an anchor to do, the whole FF run.
He had a better relationship with Austin, with Terry. History could have prolonged a little bit for those two.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, that was the team supreme.
Did John have a good relationship with anybody?
Unfortunately
not.
Well, anybody he worked with.
Yeah,
he might have had good relations with other people.
And I love John Byrne to death, but yeah.
The one time I met Byrne,
that's his Achilles heel.
The one time I met him was in the in the Marvel office. I forget who the editor was. I was sitting there waiting on the editor. Byrne came in. Obviously, I know who he is, but he sits down, and we just sit there in silence for 20 minutes. Nothing. Not a hello. How you doing? Who are you? And that was my that's my John Byrne story.
I wanted to meet John Byrne so bad that I broke into Mike Carlin's Rolodex, and I got his number out of Mike's Rolodex.
Oh,
great!
When Mike's back was turned, and I called John, and I left a message.
Nothing.
No answer. Yeah. I think some pieces just because I ain't gonna Lightbox, so every once in a while I'll just go find some drawing on the internet and just to be able to do it.
I think some John Byrne on Lightbox just to be like, God, these lines are they're just like when you're inking them, they're like he is the best comic book penciler.
And also I think,
and I love Jim Lee, but John Byrne is the.
Well, where do you think Jim Lee got most of that? Like Jim Lee,
exactly,
the Page, all that stuff.
Yep.
Like,
exactly.
That's John Byrne.
I think Jim Lee was the John Byrne of the 90s.
Yeah,
he was
John Byrne. John Byrne meets
some Kevin Nolan lighting.
Little Kevin Nolan,
little Art Adams,
and that's it. Art Adams.
Yeah, Art Adams. Yep.
And then as far as rendering, there's like the Nolan stuff, and then there's also oh my gosh, what is it? Barry Windsor Smith? Barry Windsor Smith in there. And when he was developing, you could kind of see those phases of Jim's progression because it went very like Art Adams for an issue, and then it went very Barry Windsor and so on and so forth. But let's get back onto you, Chris. So you had ADHD, whatever. It was you had a hard time like focusing at the board, which I think we can all relate to that. But then did you start like switching over to writing?
I did. I wanted to write, and but what the office is like in those days. If you're an inker, they think of you as an inker, they won't let you pencil. If you're a penciler, they think of you as a penciler, they won't let you write.
They didn't do that with me, but maybe I was the exception.
But I've heard they pigeonhole you
just
really
better
quick.
Than me. Yeah. So what I did was I went over to Marvel, and I told Marvel that DC was letting me write, and I submitted stories to Marvel. And then I went back to DC, and I told DC Marvel's letting me write. And then both of them let me write, some stories here and there.
You know how the game plays.
I got to do some inventory. So I wrote some. I wrote a Hulk. I wrote a few Spider-Man 2099s. Stuff like that. They'd let you give it a go, and I'm in New Hampshire in the mountains, so I got bugs flying around, and so that's how I got that going. But the thing is, the Batman script, after the Keaton movie, everybody wanted to do Batman something. Everybody wanted to contribute, and so I was like. I just remember I was reading one of those stupid joke books in those days, and it had a riddle in it, right? And I read the riddle, and then it just, by observation, it occurred to me that the way you write a riddle is to just come up with the answer first, and then you write the question to it, right? Because then there's no thinking behind it. And then I went, holy shit, I could write a Riddler story, and so I did. I wrote, the first thing I wrote out was
like the '66 Batman.
Yeah, so the first
riddle
thing
me this, Batman.
I wrote out that scene. The first scene I wrote was the Riddler confronting Batman, and the clues after they had all combined spelled out, "I know you are Wayne," and so that was the big reveal in the story. And so then I just wrote riddles backwards from that, and that's how I got the whole story going. But I wrote the plot, and Archie Goodwin was then new editor in the Batman office, and and Archie didn't know me, so he didn't know really that I was a pencil or anything. I was like, man, I can pitch this guy a story, so I did. I wrote the whole thing. And in my arrogance, I thought I had written the best Batman story ever at the time. I was so proud of it. And I brought it into Archie. I gave it to him. I was like, look, this is a really good story. I need you to read this. And it was like, okay. And then, but then I had to go bug him. I had 2 or 3 weeks I had to bug him. And I was like, every time I came in the office, hey, did you read that story yet? And I just, persistent, but not being a pest. And then, I was in the office catty corner from Archie. Archie had that corner office, and then I think it was Dooley that had the office catty corner from him. And I was in there, and Archie came over.
I always liked Kevin Dooley. I thought he was a great guy.
Kevin's was a fun guy.
He's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I was actually when he got hired, he initially came on as Andy Helfer's assistant, and Andy was hesitant to hire him because Dooley was a little bit older than he was. And he was like, I feel weird hiring someone that's older than me to be my assistant. And I was like, give him a job, man. If he seems like he knows what he's doing, hire him. And then he was like, all right, and he hired him. So Kevin doesn't even know that, but probably I had a little bit of a nudge to help with that. But I do believe it was Dooley's office. It was in that office catty corner for Archie, and Archie came in, and it was like, hey, did you write that story? And I was like, yeah. But he was like he didn't quite believe me. He was like, did you really write that story by yourself? I was like, yeah, it's my story. And Archie told me he thought it was a great story. It was like, it was a really, really good story. But
it was good enough to make a movie.
Yeah, I know, right? Apparently it was a good story because, it made enough money.
But keep going, I'm sorry.
But it was a big story. My plot is a big plot. And it's a big story with and essentially it's a sequel to Miller's Dark Knight. And but he said Paul and Jeanette are never going to let you do a story that's that meaningful in the Batman universe. They just won't.
So you envisioned an older Batman then?
Yeah, I was there. That's essentially the only distinction between my story and the movie is that I was doing Batman at the end of his career, and the movie is a young reboot of my story.
Okay.
And we're only talking, again, it's just the Riddler plot line. I had nothing to do with the Catwoman plot line or the Penguin subplots.
Okay.
It's just a Riddler story. But it's just one of those things where they just like, oh, it's too big, nobody knows you, when they're not going to trust you with a story like that.
Right.
And so, and that was that. I just had to accept that, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll go write another one. But I never did because I was like, wow, I know I wrote a good story. I'm going to do that one. But so I put it away, and in like '93. I gave it to Jim Valentino with an Image. We were going to do it as a Shadowhawk story.
Oh,
and
cool.
And Jim read it and he said, it's a great story, but it's a great Batman story, and he says, why don't you just turn it into something else and do your own book. So that's what we did. I was going to revamp it, and we were going to do it with Mark Texter was going to do the artwork. Ooh. And I made a new character called Pulse, and there's an ad, not an ad, but like a little preview thing in the back of the first Shadowhawk.
I remember that. Ad.
Yeah, it's Mark Texter was going to do the artwork. There's a sketch in there, So that's where the story went. But before we got to do the book, and going back to Jim Lee hired Tex away to do Union. He gave him a lot of money, and hey, come do this. And Mark, I couldn't turn it down, so he walked away to do that. And then I never even got around to rewriting the story. It was still just a Batman story. And so it sat around for, again, it's a Batman story. What am I going to do with it? I could, DC is the only place it can go. And then once they started making movies, you could give it to, Michael Uslan. But, after Archie died, there was a new editor in DC. And I think I didn't know.
Was it Gordon?
No, that wasn't Denny. I probably did show the story to Denny, but because I did show it to other guys as it was a story. The plot.
Oh, was it Bob Schreck?
A writing sample. No, I think was there Jordan Gorfinkel or something like that, or
Oh, okay.
it was
I know what you're talking
who was whoever was in the office after Archie passed away. Whoever was running the Batman office.
Okay.
I remember I had to look him up, and I didn't recognize the name of the guy who was running the Batman office because I hadn't been around for a little bit, and so I had to look him up, and I emailed him the plot again. I was like, look, I got this good story. So that's where I sent it to him. I didn't hear anything back, and then story sat around a little more, and then I ran into Michael Uslan in 2008, and I was at the New York Comic Con, and I had a banner and a booth, and I had another book called Barren Soil, and he liked I had a big banner for it, it was, you know how you do it at the shows, but he liked the title. He came up to me at the booth, and he was like, I like the title of your book. Do you mind if I have a copy? I'm a film producer. I'm always looking for good stories. And he had, I saw in his arms, he had quite a few books there. It looked like he was making the rounds.
So wait a minute, back up. Who was this guy again?
Michael Uslan is the executive
producer. Okay, so he's the producer of all the Batman films. Okay,
of all the Batman films. And in 2008, that would put us maybe we're into the Kevin Nolan films. I don't remember exactly which one. Second one maybe.
Okay.
I would have to go look that up. I don't know. But anyway, I didn't recognize the name because the producer, not the director. So I'm not so great with that. And he gave me his card, and I gave him a free book because why wouldn't I? And but when I went home, I looked him up and I saw he was a Batman producer, and I've got the fucking I got a killer Batman story sitting in the drawer. Right. So I was like, so I emailed it to him. I was like, I got this great story. We never got around to doing it at DC. It would make a fantastic Batman film. And so, and that was that. I didn't hear from him. And when I met him, he was a nice guy. He was very pleasant. I didn't get any weird vibes from him at all. Like I said, I didn't know who he was. I didn't recognize the name. But, I sent him a story, and that was that.
If you guys don't know who this guy is, any of the behind-the-scenes Batman stuff for the movies he's always in there.
He's the Batman guy when it comes to the film.
Yeah.
He got the first one off the ground. He was the first one that got the Batman license that nobody wanted, and he got the Keaton film made, and kickstarted the whole thing. So and he's been a good guardian of the Batman film franchise.
Yeah, we won't hold Batman and Robin against him.
But generally speaking, the Nolan films are good. Keaton films are enjoyable. I don't want to talk about Catwoman or anything, but more, not bad. He's done pretty well.
He's got a good track record.
Yeah. But
more hits than losses.
Right. But I never heard from him, and he didn't answer. But and then after that, every once in a while, if somebody said, mentioned because I worked with a bunch of other guys that worked in the Batman office or for DC and stuff, and anytime anybody had like if a project got canned or something, I would say, hey, I got this old Batman. So I must have given it to 8 dudes or something, like Batista, where it was like, hey, I've got this Batman plot. Do you want to approach the Batman office with it? Maybe we'll get it off the ground.
Okay, the comic book, to go back, the comic book that you handed Michael Uslan, that had that Riddler story in there?
No. I emailed it to he asked. That was my comic, an independent comic, and I actually decided not to publish it. I printed up 1,000 copies just to do the show or something, and I got a copy in the attic. I can go get her for you. But I just after I did a couple of books, it just seemed like a lot of work in those days to self-publish. I was like, I don't know if I could sustain this.
So what did Michael take from you then? I mean, he gave you the card.
Oh, the plot. He took my
Batman plot there.
No, I didn't have it there. I emailed it to him.
Oh, okay. Later you emailed.
So, yeah, he just took the card. He was just interested in the thing, but he was like, I'm always looking for good stories. I was like, I got a good story for you. So I sent it to him. I mean, why not?
Okay. Yeah. I got
it.
But
that plot
did have a little bit of a relationship with him. So there was
it wasn't like email. I didn't send it completely unsolicited out of the air, and it doesn't matter if I did. They still can't use it. They're not supposed to just go
right.
Woo! It's not a freebie. It's supposed to negotiate.
So did you fax it or did you was it postmarked? Email.
It's an email. Yeah. But after that, over the years, like you can see.
Wait, let me back up. Did he respond to the email?
No, I never heard from him.
Okay, so So he got the email. You know that. So you know he
Well,
had.
I certainly know it now because.
Right.
So and yeah, like because like if anybody wants to get to the short chase, like if you don't know anything about the whole Batman Gate scandal or my plot and the film and everything, just watch the Batman Gate 2 video. It's only 8 minutes, and you will see there's just no getting around that. That's my fucking story. There are super specific rewrites in it that cannot be explained by any kind of coincidence. But besides that, it's beat for beat my story. It's like it's that whole Riddler plot. Point for point, same turning point, same ending, same reimagined Riddler with the same backstory and it's exactly the same story. It's just rewritten to be a young reboot. And actually a bunch of people that have read it online, or through the video, have said that it would have made a good Bat flick, a Ben Affleck Batman movie because it's it's an older Batman and it could have been done without any rewrites, but. And I think that probably would have worked fine, but it doesn't matter. The real problem here is that he clearly, I don't know if he had it reworked in his office. I don't know what his excuse is for this.
So to back up again, I just kind of want to make sure everybody's tracking this. So what year was this that you emailed?
2008. Michael? Yeah, it's 2008, and the reason I knew I could, I found this so quickly and looked it up so is because I remember giving him that specific comic book, the Baron Saul comic book, and I did not publish that comic book, so it only existed at that show, So I didn't so I just had to go find the copy and see when, and it was like, oh, there it is, and so I know exactly when it was sent to him. It was April of. So
this is when they were starting to think about. Like Batman in a more realistic, darker approach, like you said, the Chris or the Kevin.
They're doing the Nolan movies at this point. I don't know if they've done the last one yet. They probably have done the second one, but you got to plan the movies in advance and everything. So they probably had already plotted where the next Nolan movie would be or whatever. And Nolan, was probably very involved in that, obviously. But clearly, when it came time to reboot a new thing. When they were kicking around the stories, he pulled out mine. I don't know if he had reworked it like long ago and forgot where it came from. I don't know what his excuse is for this. I have no clue. And I have problems justifying that he doesn't know it's my story. Because like I said, when you are, okay, we got a new director or we're going to reboot the franchise or whatever, and he's kicking around the stories that they might want to do. Or once he settles on that fucking Riddler story, how does the bell not go off in his head that that's not his to use? You know what I mean? I just can't get around that. And because because both Matt Reeves and Michael Uslan were guys that I kind of respected, and I tried to make excuses for how this could have happened. And maybe.
Did you ever have any contact with Matt Reeves?
No.
Or his office or anybody that worked there?
But I can prove that that my story went from Uslan to him because it's in the goddamn movie.
Right.
So it got there somehow. So clearly, Uslan, either reworked it and then forgot where it came from. Maybe he just saw I liked it and then maybe had his guys do a little development on it. I don't know. But again, the problem I have now is at this point he's got to know. I'm calling him out for a month and a half. Both of them, there's no way they don't know. I've contacted DC. Their lawyers are on this. There's no way they're going to watch this tomorrow. They fucking know what's going on. And there's no response. You know what I mean? Uslan has not gone, holy shit, we fucked up. Let's make this right. There's nothing. They've gone dark, which is what they always do. They're going to go quiet, wait for it to blow over if it does. And then at that point, it's fuck you. Because it's like I said, you're stealing from me now. I will forgive.
Well, unless you have good representation, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I'm looking for, I want to get a lot of public, I want to get out in the public first because that has more power than a lawyer does these days. Because the truth of the matter is they have so many, their resources are unlimited. They, $1 billion law firms and it doesn't matter. you know, what lawyer you have, you know, unless you get, you know, another $1 billion lawyer that's going to, you know, is willing to take it on contingency. But, you know, you can't sue people like that. They'll kick it down the road until you get hit by a bus or die of old age, or, you know, a lawyer doesn't mean anything anymore. Public opinion does. You know, if you know, enough people find out about this, because it's awful. The optics are terrible. There's absolutely no way they can explain why, you know, certain, you know, the entire plot, you know, my entire plot is in the film. And
so what are some of the key points like that
Jesus,
are
there's nothing that literally, like, there's in the Batman Gate 2 video, I black out what overlaps with the film, and all that's left is the title and a small scene where Gordon has to let the Riddler go and the word end. The entire plot is in the film, you know.
Wow.
So
wow.
it's so, yeah, so and everything that, you know, it's in there, you know, you know, and what is different is all different for the exact same reason, is to make it a young reboot. It fits every single time, and there's only a few things, you know. There's like you know, in my plot, it's you know, evil global banking conglomerates, and you know, you do a young reboot, everything has to be in Gotham, so they changed that to you know, an organized crime syndicate, but everything is point for point parallel. You know, they have the same story purpose and everything. And, you know, it's just, and like I said, with the section, there's a little section there where
let me ask you, I'm going to play devil's advocate, because I'm
sure.
going to get in and try to get to the juice of this. And you guys, the rest of the Pontificators, I mean, feel free to ask and interrupt at any time. You know, I mean, Chris's story is riveting, but, you know, we can kind of, you know, guide him and try to get some more juice out of this story. So my thing is, right now, I'm thinking, like, we got to build the case, right? How does Chris build the case? So one, I'm thinking, how do you prove the timeline that you wrote the original?
Are you kidding me? To go that far back, first of all, you know,
because you can't get Archie Goodwin, you know, to
yeah, but I could do just as well, because there's a Facebook chat with Chris.
I have to interrupt. R.I.P. Archie, you're a good man.
Oh, Archie was the best guy. Nobody would ever say a word against Archie. He was the patron saint of comics, you know. But in the first video, there I show I could document the hell out of how old the story is. There's a 2017 Facebook chat with Chris Batista. When I offered him the story, I asked him if he wanted to approach the Batman office with it. And 2017 predates Matt Reeves, you know, working on the film. So and Matt Reeves has said in YouTube videos that his story is original, and it's not based on any pre-existing Batman comics. So story-wise,
okay.
So my story right there, you know, because also in that chat in the first video, which is a 2017 chat, there's a little window where I open up the file from the chat, the 2017 chat, and I scroll through the PDF that I sent Batista, and I show it's the exact same story that we're talking about. So right there,
Chris is kind of your key witness then. Like, he can.
No, I got more than him. I mean, there were other guys that got sent to, and
well, that's why I said key witness. Like would he?
Yeah, that's the one I used him because it just happened to be in that chat when I looked at it. I mentioned that I gave it to Archie, you know, and so I like, obviously I wouldn't be saying these things in 2017, knowing that a script would come out that would match mine, you know, 5 years later or whatever it is, you know. So you know, I can prove without a doubt, and like I said, you know, in those days, you know, I had a buddy that also became my assistant, and he drew a few books for Marvel, and he's now a retired New York City police captain. And I just called him, and he thinks he has an actual Xerox from 1990, and he will, you know, he would also, you know, substantiate that I gave it to Archie back in those days. But like I said, I gave it to Jim. I haven't spoken to Jim Valentino, you know, but you know, he should remember this, that I gave him the story, and that he was like, "Oh, this is a good story, but it's a good Batman story." That was 93.
So there's some key people that you could bring in.
Yeah.
That can timestamp.
Yeah, there's an email to DC that's around 2000. You know, there's another email to Uslan. So there's, you know, and like I said, the chats and the other, and there are other guys that are guys like Batista that worked at DC, also worked in the Batman office that I offered the story to. Like after the Uslan thing, like from like 2008 up until like 2017. They're on and off when somebody was like, when we were talking about doing a project, I would throw it out and say, I got this Batman thing. You want to try this?
Right.
Like the article.
Seriously don't.
But I don't want to mention
this
every name
absolutely
because
happened.
yeah.
What's that, Clint?
I seriously don't doubt this absolutely happened, but one of the arguments they're going to throw against you right away is just the floating out there ideas and the Zephyr, the whole Armageddon, Deep Impact, like these movies that come out with like basically the same principle ideas.
People have brought that up too, where they're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, it's obviously you both were, were both inspired by the movie Seven," and I pointed out, but my plot predates Seven by 5 years.
No, there you go. You got
So,
that.
it's just it's stuff
Because
like
I mean,
that.
they
where-
stole deeply from Seven.
Yeah,
Still after
and
those
it's not just that. It's like I read the article. I read the whole article and everything that you put up, and some of these scenes in the friggin' movie are just beat for beat for beat for beat.
There we go.
Exactly
Mm.
the same thing. Like it's just that they took the scene from one character, like you said, they took it from Barbara and they gave it to Alfred.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is that there's a scene in there's a little section of the Batman Gate 2 video where I break down the character compositing. So everybody knows what character compositing is. It's when you got to cut a character and you give their scenes to another character. So there's a scene where Barbara Gordon's scene is cut because she can't be in a Young Reboot, obviously, because she's too old to appear in a Young Reboot. But her scene is given to Alfred. And Alfred's the only character that scene can go to because of the particulars of it. And then the scene that is there for Alfred is given to the mayor. And they are bang on identical scenes.
Even some of the dialogue is the same.
Yeah. And then scene, so it's impossible. The thing is, like, the film studio will always go to, the old standby is, we had similar stories in the works that you never saw and everything. But like I said, Reeves has been on video, saying that like he only started working on it in 2017, and that it's not based on any other Batman stories. That's completely original story-wise. So it's not based on any comics. So right there, that's it. He's saying this is his story. Now I can prove that, like, there are rewrites of my plot in the movie, and I can prove that I gave it to Uslan. So there's no way to.
There's
So, yeah,
precedent for this. Wasn't the Matrix the author that wrote a science fiction thing that the Wachowski brothers like basically stole the plot of the Matrix off of her book, and she
Wachowski's sisters.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Pronouns.
Yeah, right.
You dead naming bastard.
Well, no, when they sued, I think they were brothers.
When they sued, they were still
when the suit was settled, they were sisters. So let's keep our timeline straight, gentlemen. I don't want to offend anyone's pronouns.
The videos only, I'm just starting to break this story, and the videos I've only got a few thousand views on them, but it's got like a 93% approval rating, like with thumbs up, thumbs down type thing. So the people that are actually watching the videos are convinced. I just need more people to watch the videos.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, when Matt Reeves says it's not based on any comic book, I mean, he's kind of not lying.
I'll pay anybody money to get him to stay down on camera now. Anybody.
No. But what
microphone
is,
that dude.
Technically not a lie, but it's kind of like one of those justifications.
It's withholding certain information.
Yeah. When you say specific things like why would you even make a big deal out of it? Why would you make a point? It's not based on a comic book, unless you kind of had something, some kind of shenanigans going on, because it seems weird. Like,
I don't, you can make the argument. There's a possible argument, a small possibility that Reeves doesn't know. That it could be that Uslan had it reworked in his office and gave him an outline and said you can use this. But even still, then how could he's not crediting it? Yeah,
how could he claim it as that he came up with it?
Exactly,
because he didn't. So then there's two lies right there.
All right, so that's why it was hard for me to use the word stole. I didn't want to. I didn't think it was right. but at the end of the day, I couldn't justify any other way that this could happen. There's no way this is an accident. You didn't write the same damn story that I wrote, while your producer was holding it. That didn't happen. You didn't have rewrites. You didn't write a story that contains rewrites of the story your producer was holding. It's just not possible. It's ridiculous to say.
Yeah.
And and Reeves is, he said it's all his and it didn't come from anywhere else and everything. It's, what am I supposed to say to that? It's just like, and I want,
You say it's a lie, like it's not a truth.
I did.
Yeah.
I wanted to find a way to let them off the hook, and I can't. It's just like, what the fuck? It's like.
Well, I'm going to tell a quick story that parallels yours, and I that's why I want you to succeed. I want you to succeed for me, man, because it's Chrono Mechanics. Chrono Mechanics has come close time and time again to having something done in Hollywood, right? So I had Kids WB. I was with them. I have I don't know if you can see it. You can't see it. There's a statue, like a maquette that was made, and all kinds of stuff. So WB dissolved. They went out, But when we were developing, because we got hired to develop the Bible and all that stuff, right? So we contacted Jack Black. I was a big Tenacious D fan, like a lot of the guys in the studio that I worked with. I mean, this is before they were big, when they were in the little clubs and stuff. And so this is before this song got effed out, Holding Out for a Hero. So I wanted that to be the theme song for the cartoon, right? And I wanted Jack Black, I wanted Tenacious D to perform it. So we made a proposal. We pitched it to him. We had email documents. We had all that stuff, right? That there was contact with Jack Black's people and us. And I didn't get my agent involved at that time. We were just kind of throwing stuff out and seeing if anything was possible. And so we did. We got response. So there's 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 the connection that was made.
Right.
And so then, nothing happens with the show. And so then the Tenacious D movie comes out. And there's one thing that my character has. His name's Doug. He has a lucky pick.
Oh.
He has a lucky pick. And the movie was called The Pick of Destiny. And I'm like, you sons of bitches, right? So I'm still like, it could have been a weird coincidence, right? And there's a series of things that kind of happen in the film that, like you start going, yeah, maybe I can discount this one thing, right? But then there's this other, and then there's this other, and then they came out with a video. Get this, Chris. Okay, at the time we had these characters. We've later called them chronomites, but the early drafts that we sent to them, they were called. What were they called? They were called time gremlins. Time gremlins, right? And so they come out with a video, like a music video for some of the songs that are in the movie, right? And one of them has time travel in it, and there's a time gremlin. And I'm like, no fucking way, right?
Totally.
But
This is
happens
totally
all the time. I mean,
He stole the Pick of Destiny from me.
He stole the Pick of Destiny, sons of bitches. But I love the movie and I love those guys. But what I did,
I like the Batman movie.
I'm with Circle of Confusion. So I'm with an agency. They're actually the Wachowski brothers agents. They're a bunch of peoples. Mark Miller. Michael Bendis, like these guys, they put the Walking Dead stuff together. So it's a big, but when I signed with them, they weren't that big. That's why I signed with them, because they were willing to take a chance with me. So then I contact Dave Alpert, and I said all this stuff to him, and he goes, yeah, you got a case, and we can pursue this, and you probably win. But you know what? That movie was a flop, so you're not going to get much of anything.
Well, I don't have that problem.
So then he advised me. He said, it's not worth it to go after them. I mean, you could personally have, you can have a win in your column, but other than that, it's not really going to amount to anything. So that's why I want you to succeed. So
Well, because also I would really like for a lot of people to hear about this, because I would like to make this the poster child for fucking Hollywood bullshit.
oh hell yeah!
Oh,
This has
yeah.
to stop, man. Like,
Mhm.
most guys in comics, a lot of people don't realize it. People that read comics just like comics. The truth of the matter is that most guys in comics, I know you guys are doing okay, but most guys that work in comics are having trouble keeping the lights on. That's just the
Oh,
truth
yeah.
of it. You know, they struggle week to week. They need spouses that have good jobs or something to be able to do this. And and for guys that have hundreds of millions of dollars to just fucking pilfer shit from hardworking guys,
Right.
it's inexcusable, man, on a human level.
Well, hold
it's
on,
like-
hold that thought. I got to go to Admiral Wackass. Okay, so Dan Harmon wrote it with him. Dan Harmon is the another thing that actually stole the tone from Chrono Mechanics, which is it's kind of like the parody of like
Back to the Future.
Back to the
It's
Future. What
Rick
was-
and Morty. Rick
Rick
and
and
Morty.
Morty.
Rick and
Yes,
Morty,
Rick
yeah.
and Morty. And I remember when I was pitching this, Chrono Mechanics, I remember they were like, how does the time travel work? How does the time travel work? And I laid it out exactly the way it works in Rick and Morty. And I was like, oh,
I mean, have you seen the? Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the
I didn't know that
initial-
Dan Harmon wrote that. So thank you.
They're
Admiral
stealing
Wackass.
everything in Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
one more. There's one more connection to the swiping. Yeah. Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm sure you guys have seen the initial Rick and Morty, 5-minute YouTube video that
Mhm.
got the show picked up and everything. And it's just Back to the Future. I mean, it's like the way.
Okay, I just want to the tone. Like one of the things I pitched is like time travel, because they wanted like, how does the time travel work? And my first response was, whatever's the funniest, right? Like I had
That's the right answer.
I had some basic guidelines, but I said we can contradict those things if it's funny. And then if you
That's
look
exactly
at Rick
the
and
right
Morty,
answer.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what they do.
Yeah.
They're not beholden to anything, but it still works structurally, but it's always funny. And I said
That was the approach on Seinfeld with Larry David. There are conflicting character things all over the place. Between like what they can and can't do, like, don't like, and they don't get too flying fussed. If it's funny on the day, put it in. And that's exactly how you do it, man. Because who cares? When you're doing comedy, continuity can take a back seat. It's not drama. It's not high adventure comics and stuff like that. If you're doing a sitcom or adult humor in a cartoon, so whatever's funny goes in, and everything takes a backseat to that. And that's the right way to approach that. As a matter of fact, my new thing, Penelope Powerhouse, that I'm going to be doing next, that is adult humor, and it's a fucking riot.
Yeah, but it's like
some of the artwork. It looked cool. Yeah.
It doesn't like this doesn't surprise me, man, because there's been so many famous incidents of plagiarism where and it's always usually this. Oh crap! it's always usually the same technique, which is you either stall them out until they go away, or you try to do some kind of a backdoor deal where everybody just shuts up and then everybody just goes in their separate ways.
Yeah, what I expect might happen in my case is that if it makes a big enough public stink, my gut feeling in all this is that it's Uslan's fault. That's my gut feeling. That's my instinct. Is that, like I said, like, when you're kicking around ideas and okay, this Riddler thing is what we're going to go with. This is the new movie. How does that bell not go off in Uslan's head that it's not his to use? So he either from a sense of entitlement or where he just was like fuck it and they just rolled with it.
Well, sometimes I think it is. It's like these guys. Like I've heard Michael talk. He comes across as a very humble, like nice guy.
He comes across as a great guy.
But the thing is, like, a lot of times these guys have super huge egos, and this becomes the problem. And I think this is wrong with most entertainment right now. Is the bureaucrats, the uncreative types are trying to be more and more creative. And let's just be hypothetical. Okay, so
Kathleen Kennedy.
Exactly. Michael has this idea, right? And so he pitches it to Matt Reeves, and Matt Reeves is like, yeah, I can work with that, right? Because somehow there had to be something that happened like that. There had to be some kind of connection between what you did Michael, and then Matt. So the only tissue there is Michael Ursuline, right?
Yeah.
So
the
then
producer.
he throws this out, but he wants to make it seem like it's his. So he's
there's a video.
All he has to do is not say your name. All he has to say is this is mine. Or he doesn't have to say anything. He just pitches it, and then Matt thinks it's from him, and then they go forward. So then Matt can kind of build on this or whatever. Because
I could see that if Uslan gives him like just an outline and says you can use this, run with it, and then if he thinks it's been gifted to him, so it's okay to say he came up with it. That might be a situation where we could forgive Reeves, conceively.
Well, let me back up again. I'm sorry to interrupt. Okay, so we're talking about Batman, Frank Miller, Dark Knight Returns, all that stuff too. Okay, well, Dick Giordano had the idea for Dark Knight Returns. He gave it to Frank Miller. Very few people know that. And he said, I'm not the right guy. I'm not the right guy to write this.
What?
Yeah. So he gave it to Frank. And you know what? On some level, he was right.
Okay, hold on. Like, Art's breaking news that, like, most of comics fans,
right?
he's just
in
there like it's nothing. Like, Frank Miller didn't come up with shit. It was Dick Giordano.
Matter of fact, we're just like,
but I don't want to take it away from Frank. Because
it happened.
Frank is great, but that's big news.
Clint's like,
I've never heard that.
Clint's like, dude, you're killing my childhood, man.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, don't mind this.
Well, I believe I got this from the horse's mouth.
I knew Dick in '86. I'd never heard
said
anything
it
like that.
in a very generous way, and that's why, some of these guys, because he never wanted credit for it. He knew that Frank was the right guy to execute it, so he went to Frank with it. It wasn't like Frank stole it or anything like that.
Don't forget that DC is also, they're trying to lure Frank over to DC,
right?
And Dick was one of the editors,
and that's a honeypot project.
Idea that Frank turned into what it was. So.
Yeah, and basically it was just kind of like it was, a what if older Batman retired, what would bring him back. So I'm sure that it was bare bones of the idea, and then Frank ran with it. I can only assume,
but what I gave you is a complete story, though. It's not a complete screenplay, but it's a complete plot. It's a full story.
It's a story arc, a character arc. Yeah, very specific. Yeah, I completely got it. I do have to ask you though. There was one graphic in the movie where it's the coffee and then it has the question mark.
Not me. No,
okay,
that was cute.
So the visual was them. Okay, so I can
all
get
the bullshit surrounding this movie and my stolen plot involvement. I do think that Matt Reeves put a shit ton of work into it and a lot of thought. I think he made the best film that he could make, and I think he put a lot of work into the screenplay. I don't want. All I'm saying here is that he based everything on my Riddler plot. I'm not saying that I deserve credit for the fucking screenplay. I'm not saying, that he didn't direct it. I like the movie. I do. But the thing is that the concept and the plot is the real work of it. Everything else is polishing. But the bare bones structure of the story, which is what I gave them, that's what you build on. That's the foundation of it. There's nothing.
I do have a success story, and this it depends on the individuals, and it depends on Michael's ego. I think it's going to come down to Michael.
I know his ego's huge. His whole identity is wrapped up in the success of the Batman movie.
Yeah. So the thing is, I'm just remembering when I was in bands. I played in bands in my youth, and there was a song. Well, our guitar player, Kevin James, he played in Metallica for a while, pre-Metallica, and so he was a guitar player. And he wrote "Hit the Lights," which is the Metallica.
I love Metallica.
Yeah, hit the lights.
You don't have to tell me.
It's always the guitar player.
He wrote that song, and so we used to rehearse in the same facility as Metallica. So then Kevin came over. It's just like one of those. You watch this guy play, and then you start talking, and then before you know it, you're recruiting other band members. So he actually quit Metallica because they wanted to dress up. I think it was the Dave Mustaine days, and they wanted to do kind of glam rock stuff. and that would have been a major mistake. And he didn't want to dress up, and so the band I was playing with, we were Bare Bones, and so we were just heavy rock band, and so he started playing with kind of my band, and then we just kind of formed a new band out of that. So one of the songs that was in our set was that song, but
Wow.
we had a different writer, a different singer. So our song was called, because I guess was it, I forget who wrote the lyrics, but it was one of the Metallica guys wrote the lyrics. So we never used the lyrics. So ours was
that's half the songwriting public. My
yeah.
brother
So there was
and all my friends that I grew up with, all professional musicians, they've had signed record deals, and my brother does house music producing.
So the thing is, like, this is what you hope for. This is why I'm telling the story, is that they started doing the those interviews, like the Mandatory Metallica show, and so the bass player, a lot of other guys were coming out on that show and kind of giving behind the scenes, like how this, that, there was a lot of players in Metallica in the early days. And so he was saying that, and then he urged Kevin to come out and tell his story. And so when Kevin was going to go on Mandatory Metallica, tell his story, he didn't have the demo for the song. I did. So he contacted me years later. I still have it.
Did he get any publishing from it?
Yeah, well, the long story short, so he goes on Mandatory Metallica. He proves his point. He's got the song that I gave him. He played it on the show. And so then they contacted Metallica, and Metallica, without lawyers getting involved, they gave him co-writing credit.
That's what Useland should be doing here. It should be, going, hey, I fucked up. Let's fix this. That's what a righteous person would do.
Be a man.
What they did is exactly the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I definitely hope that this gains traction, man, because like I said, like I usually go into these things with being a skeptic. It's going to gain
traction. I don't know if it's going to happen quick, but listen, I grew up dirt poor. I mean, fucking poor in the projects with an apartment that had no furniture in it. We had a kitchen table and mattresses, and I lived like that until I got work at DC Comics. So I come from a neighborhood where they steal the sneakers.
Strangely, even when I was working at DC Comics, I had just a mattress and a board.
Yeah, but I'll tell you right now, nobody's going to fucking rob me. That's not going to happen. Right. I will make sure, if I don't get paid, then Houston's going to go to his grave being pestered by this. I will fucking make sure that everybody knows. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm not going to get robbed. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, and like I said, like I said, I always go into these things very skeptical because I've had people like claims, oh, I did this for this movie and they stole that.
Yeah, but this time I could prove it though, right?
Right, but like I said, just your ability to just lay out the timeline of where the influences came from, and then just breaking, and then the second part, which broke down scene for scene, how they just took the scenes from one character and gave them to another.
That's the end of this conversation.
Like right down to right down to some of the dialogue is like
that hurts. That should have hurt.
Yeah,
Listening to the dialogue. Whoa, I wrote that.
Yeah. It wasn't easy to watch that scene when Paul Dano, because the scene is a good scene where he says, he starts calling him Bruce Wayne, where he gives himself up and he's in the cell. That's my scene. Riddler gives himself up and they're in a cell, and by themselves, and that's when he reveals, like, I know you're Bruce Wayne, but when he said that, I fucking, you can't imagine that feeling of just sitting there watching that on this, because first of all, there's the aspect of it that it's done well, is the first part, but that you're fucking like that these motherfuckers are going on fucking exotic vacations with your kids' college money. It's like, what do you think you're doing?
What the thing, Chris, is it wouldn't take much to change your life. You know what I mean? Like, to them, this is chump change. They could give you $1 million and it wouldn't change a thing.
I don't know if that's going to quite do it, but it's going to be a chunk of change.
No, I'm just saying they could. I mean, they could just give you $1 million.
Yeah, it's whatever it's going to be. It's a lot of money to them, and movies made its money. They know they're not going to lose a nickel. It's already in.
And they
anything from here is great.
They also know they have a franchise here.
So of course they do. Yeah, $770 million in counting. It's there's going to be more movies.
Listener,
who's
Chris
gonna,
knows exactly how much
they're going to
you
be tainted if I don't get paid. But but there's going to be more movies.
That's like this reminds me of like, oh god, you guys remember that movie Throw Mama from the Train?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man.
And like the whole storyline for Billy Crystal's character is his wife stole his book and passed it off as her own. And he's like, she's like, it's my life. He goes, no, it's my life, and you stole it.
There's just truth to it.
It's just
it's hard. The other thing is like guys that work in comics, man. That's the holy grail, right? That's the brass ring that everybody's. Is that Hollywood deal that elevates you out of the trenches. And to see it like you want to watch it and then your name's not on it. You're like, man, that is some shit, man.
Well, one of the other problems is like I talked to Bob Layton about this. I talked to Lynn Wein about this.
I love Bob
Wolfman about these things. Like just a ton of people, and the thing is, it's just the way Hollywood runs business, right?
That's what I said. But,
they will not give it up. They always want to put you under their thumb. Like even writers in Hollywood for features are treated like crap. I've had friends like John Moore, Howard Chaykin. I know people that have written
Howard. I know.
They've been ripped.
He was doing this whole LA struggle. He was pitching for years, and to go back to Howard, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in RoboCop that's lifted from American Flag.
It's all ripped off. RoboCop. Okay, RoboCop is Judge Dredd meets American Flag.
Yeah,
and I have proof because my roommate was Howard Chaykin's writing partner, John Moore, and they wrote a Judge Dredd treatment for the same producer. So there is
my God,
connection right there.
Yeah, Jesus, that's awful. But that's the problem, though, isn't it? Is this shit happens all the time, but this time I can fucking prove it, and I'm gonna make these guys, they're gonna be the fucking poster kids for Hollywood corruption. Because
comic book. Yeah, I would like this because I think it'd be a comic book win.
Yeah, I mean, it's just good. They think they do it so often. They just think it's okay. And again, these are guys with hundreds of millions of dollars that are just fuck them. No, that shit ain't gonna go on.
What the thing is? I don't even think it's about the money because Michael.
You don't need money.
He could write you for $1 million, $5 million tomorrow, and it wouldn't make a dent in his overall.
I mean, the world to me, but it doesn't mean shit to him. Yeah,
I do think my gut says I don't think this was a random. I think he knew what he was doing, and I think that he didn't want to give you credit because he wanted it to be his idea. So maybe he wanted to seem like a player. Maybe he wanted to seem like he was a creative dude to be taken seriously. So he had this thing chambered, from years ago. It comes out, and then it sparks a creative, fire with Matt Reeves, and he runs with it.
That's a much more plausible explanation than Matt Reeves wrote the same story that was in his drawer.
Matt Reeves did not. Yeah. I'll tell you right.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
That doesn't fly.
Yeah, you're right. It's too coincidental. Like we went and saw Wreck-It Ralph. My wife and I, we brought our kid, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so there's a character in there. He's at this crossroads. He's at this like train station type of thing. And I forget the character's name, but he's got these big glasses and he's kind of this like bookworm type of character. And I pitched multiple times with Disney. This is a Chrono Mechanics thing again. And so there was a character named the Elucidator. And whenever the plot line or whenever there needed to be clarity, he would just step in, as an outside narrator, and he would clarify points. And so my wife's watching this movie, and then she's like, "That's a freaking Elucidator!" Like she's like, "They ripped you off."
But it's almost like why, I mean, you have to pitch to them because they get the movies done.
Yeah.
But when you do pitch to them, they just take the shit and run. And
the denial is too easy for them. The denial aspect is too easy, and the burden of proof is on you. And they also know that people like us
can't afford to sue them. Never.
We don't have
never will. No,
we don't have the means to.
Yeah, I mean, who really has the money to take Warner Brothers to court?
Especially Disney. Like Disney's notorious, man. They'll destroy you before you even get started.
Yeah,
dude, they
So
will
luckily, I
sue
don't give
you.
a shit about getting destroyed. I just like,
I mean-
you know, everyone's gonna find out. You're not doing shit to me. You
Yeah,
know, I
dude.
mean, what are they gonna do? Sue me
Yeah.
for what? You know,
Mhm.
fuck
Well,
you,
they
you know?
can't. They can't really
Yeah.
come after you unless it's like some
Yeah.
kind of slander or whatever. But then they would open the whole
Then-
thing.
yeah. So let's air it out in court. Let's
Right. Then it would be
let
good for
everybody-
you. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
put it on fucking the court TV or whatever.
Yeah.
And see what everyone.
I
has
don't
to
know,
say.
man.
Well, all
The
you
music,
have to do
the
is
music
say
business fell, man. Like the way I said, like the music business fell already. Like 15 years ago, like record companies were the shit. Now they're irrelevant.
Yeah.
This might happen to movies at some point because
It is
they
starting
sell
to
everything.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like how much product that is on Netflix or whatever other streaming platform is actually studio, you know, generated. You know,
Mhm.
anybody, I can make a movie with this iPad that I'm looking at.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's the thing. Like we may need to like Hollywood need to be starved from creativity.
But that's what happened in music is that computers, you know, computer software made it easy for people to make records at home.
Exactly.
And now just iPhones, you know, people have made movies on iPhones, you know, and you know, with everything's, you know, software is almost free, you know, editing
Yeah.
software.
and good stuff. Good stuff. I mean, it's all
You can make it look great if
how
you,
clever
you got
the
some
individual-
skills. You can make a movie with your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do good sound recording and everything, but yeah, you can make a movie at home, no problem. You know?
Yeah.
Man, shit, look at Blair Witch Project, man. That movie was shot on like.
Look at that. Yeah.
They claimed that movie was shot on. They had $50,000 budget. I said somebody walked away with $49,000 in their pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look, if
True.
that was $50,000, it was $40,000 on tape.
Yeah,
Exactly, dude.
So, yeah, $40,000 on friggin' on alcohol or something, man. Because
Yeah.
No, the thing is like they did
catering.
Yeah, you need to get permits to film. So maybe there. No, I'm not asleep. I'm gonna stop wearing glasses, guys.
Anybody that used to be a fan of Hong Kong filmmaking from the 80s,
yeah.
you know, that guerrilla filmmaking, no permits, no nothing, just run around the street, get it quick. Yeah, those guys
and
would
run.
write and film a movie in 2 weeks.
Well, this is the thing is like I'm a big believer in initial DNA, right? Okay, the reason the United States is great is because the DNA was good, right?
Yeah.
The founding fathers knew their shit. The reason Mexico doesn't have a space, they have no NASA, they have no. It's just because the DNA was corrupt and bad from the beginning. So, like, wasn't Hollywood like formed by mobsters like that?
I can't imagine what Hollywood was like in the 40s
You know,
when there was no accountability whatsoever. I mean, look how it
Well,
is now.
it's true though.
That was
If you think
fucking
about what I'm
Hey,
saying,
Pedro. I want to ask Pedro a question. Pedro, what do you think Mexico's space program would have looked like?
Oh, it's called masa.
Masa.
Masa, yeah.
rockets made out of Adobe.
Exactly. Made out of Adobe.
But you know what? I don't even
They're,
mean
they're
it.
filled with corn.
I
Mucho
don't even mean it
queso.
as a racist thing. Like I grew up in California, like Baja. If you go into Baja, it's like enter at your own risk, right? Because I've had friends that have had
Oh,
cars
goddamn.
taken from them. The federales let them walk to the border. You know, like it's a
Baja's on the
I want to see if we
Mexican
can get Pedro to fall out of his chair.
Is Baja on the Mexican side though?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I know Baja. I
Great
like
fish.
motorcycle racing, so I know it.
Yeah.
So the thing
For
is,
space programs, it was like China, the U.S., and then it was Mexico, right?
Yeah,
underneath
Mexico. Yeah, dude.
it never.
Don't laugh at China.
Maybe we could throw Russia in there, but you know what?
Yeah.
The thing is, it's the DNA. Like if the DNA is strong, then you can build on something. Like look at the Disney organization. The DNA was strong. They're starting to fuck it up now.
The foundation. You mean?
The foundation was really strong, so you could build on the integrity of what was there. Hollywood was always built by criminals. Like there was never any integrity. It was always illusion. That's why they have to virtue signal out their yin yang to make you think that they're good people, but they're not.
Yeah,
I'm not saying everybody working in Hollywood.
Obviously, no, that can't be true because they're like anything else. They're good and bad people. Every place and every business and every country, whatever. But they're but Uslan, my issue is that he projects himself to be a champion of comic creator rights. He's always talking about giving credit to Bill Finger for all the Batman. Not that Bill Finger does; he deserves all that credit,
Right.
right? But Bill
Mhm.
Finger's dead, right? He doesn't have to pay Bill Finger.
Yeah,
How are
you
you
don't pay
sitting
the
there?
debt.
Right. How you're acting like the champion of comic creator rights, and then you're ripping off stories from people that are struggling to publish their own comics. It's ridiculous, man. And
But
like I
the thing
said,
is, like calling yourself like the comic book, I don't know, like flag bearer. It's a good bullhorn to advertise yourself, but what do you do? Yeah, but what do you do behind closed doors? Like it's a completely different thing.
yeah, well, that's why I said I'm gonna,
Yeah,
I'm gonna blast this shit until. Listen,
Yeah.
at some point, if
Mhm.
enough people find out about it, and then, like I said, the people that do watch the video, especially that second video, the Batman Gate
Mhm.
2 video, the people that watch the video are convinced. It's
Yeah.
almost across the board. So I just need more people to see it.
Well, Bill,
But-
and Jason, start taking it to mainstream media and see if
Mhm.
There are some stories like I don't want to say because they contact there are places that are to be big media outlets that have contacted me and asked me to substantiate some stuff, which I did, and they have teams that are working on it. I don't know when those stories are going to drop. I'm hoping they're going to drop this week or next week or something, but I don't know. This is also convention season. There's all kinds of news, and here's our new movie. And it's been a big news month, obviously with a lot of shit going on. And then it's with everything that drops, the conventions and everything. I'm just waiting for my turn.
yeah,
Yeah.
September's a slow month.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I need. Is I need
Slow month,
I need
yeah.
a slow. I need a really slow news week. And like, hey,
Well, they
see
said
the
that's why
Batman thing.
the death of Superman got mainstream attention because it was a really slow,
Yeah.
news week. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, but now Pelosi's in Taiwan, so I don't know if the world's going to.
She's
If
still
we're talking
there?
about news. Do some?
Did she get out?
I don't think people care. If
I know
she's still
China
there.
cared. They were.
Yeah, China cared. She
Staying.
went, but if she
Yeah.
stays
But
there,
I just don't understand. I mean, we have diplomats. I don't know what she's doing there, but I don't want to get into all that.
yeah, let's not get into that. But yeah, just talk about
I'd
news now.
rather talk about comics.
Well, let's talk about your petition and how you can
Yeah.
support your case and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the very first thing, if you need to know what's going on, is to watch the Batman Gate 2 video that lays everything out pretty well. And then if you want to go back and watch the Batman Gate 1, that'll give you a much deeper appreciation for how bad it is.
Can
But
you
the
put the
Batman
link?
Gates,
Yeah, can you
Yeah,
put the
the
link
Batman
can you put the link of the video in the chat so we can post it?
yeah, I'll send it to Art, and he could,
Yeah.
hopefully, throw it up.
Mhm.
Yeah, and the petition. I didn't start the petition. I don't know the guy that started the petition. I was just grateful for that.
Was it Narwhal? I saw in the green room
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I don't know him, but that was very nice of him.
Yeah.
And it's at like 300 signatures now or something.
Awesome.
Videos are.
Wait, Narwhal did something nice?
Not a nice
That's
guy.
a first.
I don't know any of you guys.
That's a first.
He's gonna ask for something, some kind of favor down the line. You
I'll be happy to buy him a burger. Yeah.
yeah, a burger and a beer. Yeah, he works cheap.
Yeah.
So what is your channel? What is your channel called?
Oh, my channel is called Full Blown Psychosis. That's my LLC that I'm going to publish comics under. I wasn't expecting to have a fucking YouTube channel. That wasn't my intention. It's just I had the channel to put up the little previews for the comics. So that's what it is. Full Blown Psychosis.
I know I'm subscribed. I'm looking for it now so I can get the link.
Just if you just go into YouTube and type in Batman Gate, you'll see the videos.
Where the hell is it?
Let's do that right now.
Yeah, they've got enough traction that
There it is. I got
they're
it.
showing up right away.
You got your character in the banner. That's cool.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Is all this stuff like that. Is I'm doing this by myself. Like I don't really know how to make videos. I had to figure it out.
Okay, if you guys want, it's the link's in the description. Just click on that. Go subscribe
Oh,
to
thank you.
the channel. Watch his videos. I'm sure the thumbs up on the videos will help get some traction, and also
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
let the people that you're gonna be battling against to know that you're a formidable formidable foe and that you have some support. You know.
Yeah, all they need to know is that I'm not going away. I'm not. Like I said, I'm not going to let anybody rob. I'm a single dad with a 10-year-old daughter. You're not taking money out of my pocket. That's not going to happen. I don't give a shit who you are, what you have. That shit ain't happening. So I'm going to put it on
like
blast.
one of those founding mafia guys from the
Hollywood. Well, I'm half Sicilian from the Lower East Side, so get close.
There's a little of that in there, yeah. So yeah, don't cross Chris. So you know, this is just to sum it up. I think Michael knew. I don't think it was an accident that he told Matt Reeves this. I believe that the way it went down, just based on what you've said and the way I know these things happen from experience in the past, is that he probably told Matt, pawned it off as his own original idea. Matt was like, really, this is great. Probably made a big deal about it. And so then, you know, Michael didn't want to pull back. You know, he wanted to get, you know, his ego was getting all pumped up. And he was like, yeah, man, go use it. It's all yours. And just knowing all the time that Chris is a small fish and none of it matters. You know what I mean? And that's
we have the internet now. So, you know.
Yeah, that's why more people need to step up like this. I wish that Pick a Destiny movie was more successful because I had a pretty kick-ass case too, but there was nothing really to take, and
they can't cry poor now.
Yeah. No, not on your movie.
Not on the Batman, no.
Not on the Batman movie. Hell no, because it's going to be a franchise. There's going to be more stuff coming, and also. Just as an early warning for these guys, if they're thinking of plagiarizing any other parts of your story, they know you have their you have their license. You have
I keep joking that there's not going to be a sequel because I only wrote one Batman story.
But there's other stuff that they could probably take from that story, right?
I'm sure. No, they used it all actually.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, that's all in the movie. Yeah. Nothing left. Yeah.
Were there any other pitches that you made to Denny O'Neil?
To DC? I can't think of any that we.
Or Archie was Archie a good one, right? Yeah.
Archie. Yeah, Archie was a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you're working on some creator-funded comics.
Hey, Bob, you do the steering. I'm going to go use the restroom.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you said that, like my ears perked up because that's what we're all about around here, man.
Yeah, I'm doing my new graphic novel is called Penelope Powerhouse. Mm-hmm. It is a adult humor type thing, and that is actually what I was working on. I did a little preview. Just
I saw the preview video. Yeah.
Okay, so that little video that I made, and that's the first video I've ever made. I didn't know how to animate. I didn't know how to record sound. I just figured it out while I made that. So that little video for Penelope Powerhouse, a Netflix producer got hold of it in like a week or two, and they asked me to write a pilot, which I did. So that's what happened with that, and but like then the whole Netflix stocks and took a dump and
took a dive.
Then that whole thing cooled. But because I wrote the pilot. Because initially I just had an outline that I was going to draw from, but then because they asked me for a pilot, I wrote a complete full script. There's a pilot for that now, and so because the pilot is so finished and developed, I'm going to do that version. So I got to shit can everything I had from before, and I know that's how it rolls, right? And so I had just gotten back to working on Penelope Powerhouse when I watched Batman. I was like, what the fuck? So then I put that on hold, to deal with this Batman nonsense. And I'm going to have to keep dealing with this. But I just went back to drawing some Penelope Powerhouse stuff literally just yesterday. So, I'm going to get that rolling. That should be ready to go in a few weeks.
Cool.
A month. Let's say a month, just to be safe.
So people are asking to share the video. Is this like the trailer for the comic?
I just did. It's in the chat.
Oh, is that what that is? I mean, but I think they want to see it. They want to see it on the show.
What?
How do I do that? Do you have that,
just click on the link in the chat. It'll take you to it.
Yep.
If I click on the link, it'll take the show.
Indiegogo is not up for that yet.
No, hang on.
Yeah, I got a feeling that's not.
Yeah. Somebody else
I
needs
see
to
a
share
John-
because I think my connection's not great for some
Okay.
reason. I don't know.
The
What's
link's
going
in
on.
the description, so if one of you guys could grab it and then just put it up and I'll share it. So this is the video for your new project, Chris?
Yeah, it's going to be a little different from that because they had to redesign the characters for television. But the real cover's in there at the end, and it will give you the gist of what you're going to get. It's adult humor. It's off color.
Okay, look. I'm going to click this, Bob, and just see what happens.
Go for it, man.
Oh my God, no,
Oh,
no.
There's cursing in that video.
I'm going to end the stream if I. Well, so
I'm trying to
theoretically,
copy and paste, and then I'll share.
I can't copy
That's
and
it.
paste it though.
Here.
All I can do is click on it
Hold on. I
Lord.
think I might have it.
Oh Lord.
because I'm thinking it'll just open up another tab, right? And then I can
Yeah.
share.
Let me. Here, I'm almost ready. Share screen.
Clint comes through.
Are we going to watch this?
Hell yeah, we're gonna watch this.
Are we? Okay, let it roll.
Let it roll. I mean,
Okay,
If
I think
we
I
get-
shared it with you, Art.
we get over the technological barrier. There we go.
I haven't.
All right. Well, you're driving, Clint. So
Okay, here we go.
School student in all of Sunnyside, Nebraska. And okay, maybe
All right, I'm gonna start
Hi,
from the beginning.
my name is Morgan Despair, and people say I'm the gloomiest, most miserably dire high school student in all of Sunnyside, Nebraska. And okay, maybe they have a point there. And this is Penny Pretty, better known as Penelope Powerhouse. And as you know, she's America's solar-powered teen superhero sweetheart. Penny represents all things wonderful and good and righteous and true. She has billions of fans all over the world who love her to death, and of course they do. Penny has perfect smile, perfect hair, perfect tits, and the perkiest ass anyone has ever seen. And she's even environmentally friendly. That's right, she farts pure hydrogen. One of us is the nicest, most kind-hearted person in the world. The other is a fucking bitch monster of galactic proportions. So naturally, we hate each other. How fucking lucky am I that we're the same person? Because while I was on vacation with my parents, I got this awful sunburn, and I vowed never to go into the sun again. But this infuriated an ancient mythical sun god who cursed me to suffer from a sunny disposition for the rest of my life. So by night, I'm my normal, wonderful self, but with every waking sun, solar-powered Penny takes over my body. And now, no one can see me or hear me while Penny spends every day ruining my life. You see, Penny Pretty, the super wonderful queen of virtue, does everything in her near unlimited superpowers to irritate the living shit out of me. For my 16th birthday, she ruptured my boyfriend's ball sack while letting my filthy gym teacher bang me. But things get way worse from there. Can two teen girls share a body without driving each other crazy? No, they fucking cannot. Find out in the sun-soaked adventures of Penelope Powerhouse, a brand new, all-original graphic novel from full-blown psychosis. Somebody fucking kill her!
oh my God, this looks so fun.
Wow, that grabs your attention.
Hey, Clint, you guys need to hook up, man. This is right up your alley.
Hey, yeah,
If somebody
it's
wants
not
to
too
draw it,
far
I'm happy
off.
to just write it.
I love
Yeah.
the way you tease it. It's like they're two separate people, and then it's like, no, we're the same person.
No,
Yeah,
that's a
I-
great
I'd be
pitch,
nice.
man. Great pitch.
I had this character. This is pre black and white. As when I was a kid, his name was Day and Night, and so it was a similar like split personality character. So in the
Uh-oh.
day he was one guy, and at night he was a different guy. Yeah.
Art's
Oh,
next
I
book
just
is
remembered
Yin and Yang.
that
So I'm gonna
that
shoot
character. I invented that character when I had that company, and with Chuck Dixon. Chuck didn't work on that one.
Right.
Me and Chuck Dixon developed about 8 children's properties that we were going to do.
This was
And
not
then-
one of them.
No, it was. I just
Oh,
revamped
before
it. Yeah, it was
The edgy R rating.
but Shooter just
Just
made a
kept
big stink
developing it.
about- Yeah, but I got so many projects lying around. I just like, all right, let's do this one. I pulled it out and just
That's an
And I just
attention
knocked out
grabber
the
right
video.
there for sure.
we got
Yeah,
some
it's gonna
thumbs
be-
up. Chris,
Oh,
it's
Chris,
gonna
yeah.
be fun.
thumbs up.
Oh, thank you.
Well, and that voiceover girl was perfect.
That's
Yeah.
just a kid down the block.
Is it really?
I thought it
You
maybe
know.
was your daughter.
No, my daughter's 10, but you know,
Mm.
my neighbor has a daughter. She's a little theater brat.
Oh,
Yeah, there was theater in that
She
delivery.
did
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah,
that was
she
Yeah,
did
she
a
did a
great
great
job.
Yeah, did a really good job.
You got to
And,
cuss. No,
very
that's
cool.
fun. Yeah.
Well, she's 14. I had her mom sitting here while she's doing the lines. Yeah, so you know,
For 14, she did amazing.
she did a
Yeah,
great
really,
job.
really
Yeah,
well.
and not only that, she was here for 40 minutes and knocked out the whole thing.
Wow.
So
very
it
cool.
really.
got a
When,
knack.
when are you thinking of launching it? Do you have a pre-launch yet? Do you have any?
No, I'm working all that up now. Like I said, I gotta redraw like the 5 pages so I can get the Indiegogo thing going. You know, I'll have it going in a month for sure. I didn't do any of the pre-launch anything yet, but I do have all the rest of the Indiegogo stuff set up.
Do you have a
Wait a
mailing list?
minute. Wait a minute. I got it. So what's going on? So Emer Wackass says move the mouse controls. So he was talking to me?
Yeah, you had the mouse controls on the bar, which created a pop-up. It was a pink pop-up, so it was stuck on a color.
It's okay. You get the idea.
It wasn't.
But they got to see the
wasn't-
video, right?
We got the video up. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
But you heard the sound too, right?
yeah.
The video was shown. It looked awesome. That's what
There was
matters.
a little echo, but I wasn't controlling the. It was.
Art, you were just fine. They're nitpicking.
They're coming at me, man.
Yeah,
Coming
that
at
they
you,
are.
Art.
That
Coming
they
at you
are.
hot. No,
They're
no.
turning on me,
There's
Chris.
a
They're turning on me.
question for you create your own content, something like this. Obviously, like that's a great pitch right there.
Yeah.
And with all the streaming, everybody's looking for IP content. Like,
Yeah.
do you
that's
take
the way
that
to
out
go.
and start showing it to like how would you just nitpicking your brain for like ideas? Like, how do you take that out and start showing it to people?
I didn't. That got found.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, wait. The way it got found is my girlfriend has a friend who's married to a producer of reality TV shows, and he saw it, and then showed it to another guy who does. I don't want to say his name, but he's got like 3 shows on Netflix.
Okay.
You know them. They are big animation shows.
Sure.
And he saw it and he liked it enough, and he's like, once you write up a pilot,
So have something good and then have some sort of connection, and then
because he's like, if I'm going to pitch this, I need a pilot in hand, and he gave me a couple of things to, he gave me a window to work in. He's like, it's got to be, it's got to work for a 50-50 audience of men and women. And it's got to still be funny, And
do
so
they want a whole comic book before they'll start showing it around, or is like
no. I mean, like at the time we were just talking about, a show. I mean, that's why I wrote a pilot. But now I'm gonna go back. I'll do the graphic novel. It's gonna be 50 pages or something. And then once it's a property, I got that project. I think has legs because I think you can see the idea is funny. It's cute, but
it's different than a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, and the pilot and the script that I wrote for it, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I hit a home run. Like I know that I killed it, so I just got to finish it and get it out. So I got a lot of faith in that project actually.
Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, it kind of grabs you right away, and the concept is fun and different. It's superhero, but it's different enough.
Yeah. If you got, there's no bad characters.
Girl that's gonna kick, her boy, because technically she kicked her own boyfriend in the net.
Yeah, it's a weird situation.
Like when you start thinking about it, when you start connecting things, it's like she kicked her own boyfriend in the net.
Blew up his nuts. Yeah. And the truth is that, like when I was, doing the back and forth with the producer, if that had got, if it, went forward and got going, I was gonna, recommend her to do the voice on the show, I thought she killed. You know.
Oh yeah, she was fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, and she's got a very, very specific voice. Like she's got her own, you know, I forget the word now that I'm looking for, but you know, once you hear her, it sticks with you. The way, you know, she's got a certain rhythm in the way she speaks and everything.
There's a
Oh,
weird
Turner,
thing too
yeah,
that I
definitely.
have. Like, there's this weird. It's like, oh, is there anybody that can get rid of the these pop-ups, these best nude?
Oh geez.
Do you have a red?
Yeah. I got it.
Who's got the new
Wow.
pop-ups gun?
Yeah. Oh gosh, I forgot my train of
Dude.
thought. Does anybody
Porn
remember
is free. Stop it.
where I was going with that?
I didn't know YouTube channels were getting spammed now. Jeez.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say anybody that I have a lot of respect for anybody that can cuss very like in interesting ways or in not meaningful, but that has impact. And when that girl drops the F-bombs, it's like, yeah, man.
Because I live up in the mountains in New Hampshire, but I'm from the Lower East Side of Manhattan.
Dude,
that's part. If you watch The Sopranos, that's how we talk. If you're Italian and from New York, you know that's part of normal speech.
Just real quick, Art. Somebody actually made a good point in here. We showed that video that was like had some sexually stuff, and then this popped up. I wonder if it was something to do with that.
Does it work like that?
I don't know.
Does it like actually read content?
Well, I know
now, right?
This porn bot's been violating many a live stream.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just think it's coincidence. I'm like, man,
you
know, the algorithm is crazy.
Robot.
So, Bob, were you able to get rid of them?
Yeah.
I love robot voice, man.
Yeah.
I'm blocking user as well.
Yep.
The porn bots have been chasing Art down on the internet.
They finally caught me.
That should be a plot for a comic book right there. Art versus the porn bots.
Well, you know what? If there was one artist that could actually manifest that I know, and that would be you.
What?
Yeah. Like a Ruth Buzzy type character trying to defeat all the porn bots.
Well, maybe somebody more attractive.
Yes. Ruth, where did you dig Ruth Buzzy?
Ruth Buzzy's still alive. Did anybody see that?
Yeah, I saw that. That's why I said that. I saw that someone put that on my feed, and I was like, she's still alive?
I saw on TikTok there was a Ruth Buzzy. It was like an old sci-fi show from the 70s with her and Gomer Pyle.
That was the 60s children's show?
Yeah, it was like real old school, and they had like silver suits on. I'm like, two Ruth Buzzy references in one day is a little much for me.
The best scene I ever saw in it, there was a movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger did with Kirk Douglas called The Villain.
I don't know.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger's character was named after his father. He was named Handsome Stranger by his mother, and he was the typical like good guy cowboy, but it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, so he's gigantic. He's got the blue cowboy outfit on, the white hat and everything. And Ruth Buzzy's standing on the scene. He grabs her, he starts helping her across the street. She's like, "Oh my God, oh help me!" He goes, "See, mother, safe and sound." She goes, "First off, I didn't want to go across the street anyway." Later on, you see her, she's like being carted off. Then what happened? She tried to cross the street, got hit by a beer wagon.
It's the out of context thing. I mean, everybody remembers the first time you saw South Park and the kids are like cursing and everything. It's just a fucking riot. Yeah,
but it's it's just that level of stupid that gets stuck in your head.
That's amazing that she's still alive because she doesn't look that young on
No,
but he always seemed old to me. Like,
well, she played her character. Her main character was like
the old lady.
She wasn't quite that old, but she wasn't. I don't think she was too young on that show.
Yes. I think everyone that's watching is like old people.
They're all like, "What are you guys talking about?" Yeah.
Oh, finally, I found that place for Ruth Buzzy content.
I don't know.
I've been searching all night.
Pedro's like, I don't know. I'm still reeling from Art's racist comment earlier.
No, not at all. Not at all. The things like what Art said, it's partially true. The thing is like it's not DNA.
I'm just saying, Nobody
No. When I
besmirched
said
the
DNA,
Mexican
I don't
space
mean
program.
actual DNA. I mean
Yeah.
Actually, he means the foundation of it.
I'm talking about the
No.
foundation of
That, no, that really
Yeah,
has an
actually, you know what? You're
explanation.
going to be quoted on that one.
Yeah.
now.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hey,
it is. I mean, Art said DNA. Art said DNA.
Let's change
No, but
DNA to foundation.
Yeah, dude. No, but it's a very
You're not
simple
gonna get into that
explanation, dude.
I want to write a Fantastic Four kind of
Yeah.
satire, but it's the Mexican space program.
Mhm,
It
yeah,
goes into
Massa,
space,
dude.
and
Massa
they come
with a
back as
Pornhub.
different
Yeah.
versions of the Fantastic Four.
And that's why
Yeah,
it goes awry because
Mhm.
it was a mystery.
Oh man, there's so many bad jokes. I could
Oh,
say
it just
about
writes. It writes itself, man.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Oh,
I mean, it's
God.
not freaking funny,
The
man.
thing is made out of giant taco shells.
Mhm,
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
exactly.
And the only food that really it doesn't go bad in space are beans.
Mm. Oh my god.
That's all they're doing is sitting in
We
a tight
got a
space,
Navy
eating
too.
beans and farting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got
dude,
a Navy too, but none of our ships can float because the Adobe keeps caving in.
Yeah, dude. They don't serve
Oh.
beans in planes for a reason, man. You don't want to eat beans in a pressurized
Oh,
environment.
God.
So, no.
Depressurized.
So
You mentioned Adobe. Does anybody remember that old SNL skit where the car,
Oh yeah, the Adobe car.
the car was made out?
Yeah.
I think the car was called the Adobe. Right?
Yes, and it got
Yeah,
a
the Adobe.
dent, and you can just go out
Yeah.
and smooth the dent out by hand.
Doesn't it rain or something? It's like the only thing is like rain.
Well, there's no rain down,
oh my
It's-
god.
It's a desert environment, so.
Yeah, the Adobe does well in desert climates.
Is it
Yeah.
clay Adobe? Is it a clay compound?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Mud, clay, yeah.
Like, the
It's
entire car is
clay-
made out of
it's
clay.
clay and hay mixed.
Pressure cooker
Yeah.
aviation.
Mhm, Yeah.
Well, that's how they make their bricks. Yeah, they put
Yeah.
hay in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
but-
that's there.
But that's cool, man. I'll definitely be looking out for that project.
Yeah, let's be safe and say next in 1 month. And,
1 month.
this way-
Cool. Very cool.
So artist elite guys.
Yeah. We got some
Artist elite.
tortilla
Mm.
Joe.
Oh, how does Brett's stuff look in there?
Okay, I'm actually kind of disappointed in this, man.
Oh,
Because
really? I want to review
I
it.
thought when they said it was going to be kind of like a digest thing, kind of like Shonen Jump or something like that, I thought we were going to get a complete issue for each story, each book.
Oh,
in
no, it's 8-page stories.
here. It's 16.
Oh, wait, what?
Oh,
sorry. Sorry, Bob. What is this?
It's
This is Artist
this-
Elite. This is
the first book. Yeah.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay. With
And it's got three. It's three different stories. But I thought they were going to be single issues, like kind of like a
No.
Shonen Jump kind of thing. But they're actually only about six or 7 pages each.
Yeah, it's the
So-
one dude.
The
It's
parts
the one
of the
dude
story.
from
So what you're saying, Bob, is that it's not elite enough?
No, I want to get the whole freaking issue, man. I don't want to wait. Here's the thing: they're doing these three. Here's why this is a problem. Here's why this is a problem. They're doing
Bob
these
is a
three
robot on
stories.
cocaine.
They're these 3 stories first.
Uh-huh.
The next issue is going to be 3 different stories,
Oh hell
and
no.
then they're going to go back to this one. So we got to wait 2 more months to get the next part of this story. So it's going to take 6 months to get 1 issue of
Yeah.
each
Well,
of the stories.
that sounds like genius marketing to me, Bob.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, exactly.
it wasn't.
That scored
And
blue balls.
the first two projects look cool. This one, Ali Garza's, man, I'm just like, I ain't down for this.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Oh, does Ali Garza's look pretty weak?
It's just it's trying to be some kind of like weird, like, I don't know, man. It's just goofier and crap.
Yeah.
So
This character's obsessed with pickles, and it's like, what is this
What?
garbage?
So we
How
got
does Brett's stuff look in it?
Kirkham, we got
Brett's stuff looks awesome.
Yeah,
Red
the
Boot,
serpent.
Tyler
What is
Perko.
it? The Serpent Prince. I'm
Yeah,
looking.
the Serpent
I'm looking
Prince,
forward to
yeah,
seeing more of
Yeah,
that.
like here's Brett's stuff. Like
And
his stuff looks good.
on
Tyler's stuff looks good.
Yeah, Tyler. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah,
Tyler
Brett's
Kirkham.
stuff looks good.
But his book is a continuation of the book that he crowdfunded, The Final Boss.
Oh,
So-
it's more Final Boss story.
Yeah, it's a continuation of that story. So
Okay.
and the artwork's really nice. So you got some nice stuff in there. But again, it's just these little. It's a chunk. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and the way that they're doing it, it's going to take 6 months to get 1 issue of each of these stories.
They're teasing you.
Tease me
exactly.
bullshit. Give me a goddamn book, man.
Yeah.
This,
It's
I don't
story
want to wait.
rimming.
I'm gonna forget everything I read in this in 2 months, man.
Well, just wait for them when they put out the
You wait till put out a trade of it or something. But
Mhm.
Well,
yeah.
you guys have any other quick stuff? Because there was the Batgirl that we could talk
Well,
about.
is there an official reason for the canceling of the background movie? Or-
They did test screening of it and it was god
It
awful.
was god awful.
I mean, that's what I surmised.
Yeah.
But I mean, did Warner Brothers actually issue
Okay, so-
Yeah, they said
What's
that
the
the
official?
score was one of the worst that they've ever had.
Yeah.
Oh, really? They
The
just
thing is,
came out and
like-
said it tested
Yeah.
poorly?
Mhm.
Yeah,
They
tested
poorly,
terribly.
And also,
Wow.
I've been listening to like what my new patron Saint Zaslav is saying, and he just said like this is a CW series trying to be a movie, so it can be shown in the cinemas, and it's too good for streaming. So it's like a product that has no home. So let's shelve it and make it a tax write-off.
Mhm.
That's like the nice.
Wow.
That's like the
very-
nice way to say it sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's also the
very
guy.
expensive.
Smokes.
Yeah, that guy that took over, man. He's like,
Zaslav.
Oh, dude,
yeah,
that's
Zaslav.
an
He's
assassin.
looking to, he's looking at this. He's like, listen, if
Mhm.
this thing ain't gonna make money, we're not gonna buy because they haven't even started advertising for it yet. So that's gonna be another like at least another $20-30 million.
Yeah, dude.
He's like,
Dude,
I'm not going to
all-
put money like that into
Yeah.
this thing if it's not going to show dividends. And because it tested so badly, and it's just, I guess like this on set, they had all kinds of problems. It's a CW show, like you said, trying to be a freaking movie, and it's garbage. And you
Yeah,
see that
I did-
they canceled the Flash. So
the TV.
it's-
I mean,
Yeah.
they sold the CW.
yeah, they sold the
Completely.
CW. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then the first thing they did with the new owners did is they canceled the Flash.
Mhm.
I did see a Twitter comment where
it's
somebody
given
said,
one more season, but it's
It's over. Yeah.
9 seasons. I mean, how it went way longer than it.
Yeah.
You gotta give it some credit, you know.
Well,
If the new CEO of Discovery is just canceling outright $70 to $90 million movies,
how bad is
Then
it?
He's looking to clean house.
he is the boss of Warner Brothers and
He's
the
looking to
boss
clean
of
house.
DC Comics. How comfortable do you think SJW
None of them.
creators at DC
Oh.
are right now that
Well,
haven't made
also,
a dime,
I
made
hear-
a dime of profit off
Guys.
of his comics in
Guys,
5 years?
But guys,
Also, I
check this
hear
out.
that he's a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
What's
but-
up? What's up, Pedro?
Check this out. All his new like board, like CEOs, they're all like the DNA art likes. No inclusiveness. That's
Yeah.
gone. Because they're
Well,
giving like
they added-
they were saying that. They were saying
Yeah,
like
they added one person
I mean,
because
mhm.
everybody was making a stink, and that person,
Yeah,
but that
exactly.
person basically their job is basically nothing. So
yeah, like
Yeah, but
But,
that
um,
means they're looking to clean
here's the
house,
thing.
though. I mean, if
yeah.
they're
They gotta have
Yeah.
like an inclusion officer. Like, dude,
yeah,
I would be like a beneficiary of that kind of policy,
So-
and I don't want that.
Well,
Like,
the thing
dude, you
is-
want to work with me is because you like my work, not because the way I
yeah.
look.
Our
And honestly-
our inclusion policy is make money for the company,
That's
and then you'll
exactly-
be
and that's-
included.
that's the thing. It's like he's not like there are some people. There's some other projects that we haven't heard about that are on the hot seat too that aren't SJW woke stuff or anything like that.
Mhm.
It's like this guy's like, I want stuff that makes money.
Yeah.
Period.
Exactly.
That's
But
the end of
what
the
I- what
discussion.
I also think, and to see what you guys have, your 2 cents, is that this could be some early, because since this show doesn't really mean anything, but there's a Flash,
Mhm.
there's a Flash movie that does, because
Yeah.
Ezra Miller stuff is just, it's so freaking
Yeah, it's a mess.
They've
Magoo?
such a mess. It's such a PR nightmare. I don't think they can sell this movie.
They actually they've hired this guy that looks an awful lot like Ezra Miller,
oh wow.
and he's supposedly going to be involved in a DC project. They haven't said what it is, and
well, let me
the latest report is that they have gone back.
That's a solution.
To,
Well, let me finish my point, because I was
Okay, good.
Yeah, so you have this Batgirl situation. Do you possibly think that this is Zaslav seeing how the fan reaction to canceling like this, like a fan type of, like a comic book type property, and see how it goes, so that maybe he'll be able to do something similar with this Flash.
Mhm.
Because, or do you think that they're going to try to revitalize this movie, cut Ezra Miller out of it, and find another Flash? Because personally, what I have heard is that Zaslav is going to cancel everything, not just his Batgirl, that he's cutting everything across the board, and that they're going to launch a Marvel type universe moving forward, which means to me that Flash, the Ezra Miller Flash movie, is on the chopping block. It's not.
And well, there's other details of that too. The situation with Amber Heard with Aquaman. One, they brought back Ben Affleck to film scenes as Batman to kind of bolster that, and the latest report is that they cut her role back down again to like something like 2 minutes. So it's looking like I think he's looking at it and he's like, I think he's trying to figure out if there's even a remote way they can make money if they do reshoot all of Ezra Miller's scenes.
Well,
they don't have to reshoot. I mean, if you think about it, they hire another actor that looks, for the most part, looks like him, and they can go forward with that guy. They could, just computer generate his face over. They own the footage. They could just put that guy's face over Ezra, Miller's parts if the movie's salvageable, and they could save the movie and move on like that. That would be the cheap solution.
What I would really love to see is kind of what people are speculating, because I don't know if there's any official news that Zaslav is going to just cut everything across the board. Because if that's indeed true, then the Aquaman and Black Adam movie wouldn't be coming out either, and those still seem like they're on the fast track. There's some stumbling blocks like with Amber Heard and things like that. But I still think that they could be profitable for the company, because I think that first Aquaman was a big enough success, and the Shazam Captain Marvel stuff was a big enough success. But personally, what I'd like to see is them just to cut it all, just right.
If it can make money, they'll put them out. But
I think it will. I think they will do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they're kind of stuck in the middle. Is they've had a couple of hits that have made money. Obviously, Aquaman made $1 billion.
Wonder Woman won,
and then Joker too.
Yeah.
And it's EBS in the house. What up?
They need that continuity that Marvel has, though. I mean, to do a cohesive universe.
But they're kind of stuck in the middle of this bad movies that don't make money and that are kind of woke, and then a few hits, and it's like, how do we hold on? If you are going to start over, though, it's what they should have done in the first place. I'm stunned that after the success of the Marvel Universe, that they didn't just immediately jump in and plan their own. I mean, it's such an obvious, it's a commitment, financial commitment of extraordinary proportions, but. It's obviously the right thing to do. You got to at least start and see where it goes. Well, if you're going to make movies,
I think what happened was, you have Zack Snyder, which he has some good ideas, but also he was teamed with Chris Nolan, and people kind of forget that. Like at the beginning, Chris Nolan was still involved with the DC Universe stuff moving forward. He pulled out of that, pretty early on. And I don't know if it would have been much better than the stuff that we got from Zack Snyder, but my gut says it would still been darker. It still would have been more realistic. But I think that the tone wouldn't be as dark. You know what I mean? Like that Superman character.
That was a lot of that was because of the guy that was in charge of Warner Brothers. I can't remember his name now.
The problem was not the darkness; it was hopeless.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a hopeless DC universe.
It was grim. But however, you got to remember, that first time that you saw Wonder Woman come on screen
that was awesome.
Superman, Superman and Batman.
It had moments, man.
Right there in that moment, you're like, "Holy fuck, we're gonna see a DC universe on film." That was exciting,
Wonder Woman stepping onto the battlefield.
She stole that whole movie
of World War I. But then also you have Superman. Just deciding to listen to his dad and just let the tornado take him. And I don't want to expose myself. I'll just let my dad die.
There are a lot of other problems, but I'm just saying, in that moment when you first saw Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman all together, you were like, yes, this is what this is what the world wants.
It was just too inconsistent, though.
But they didn't keep going with it. Yeah.
Well, it was also they tried to jump ahead to like immediately to like in when Marvel they laid out, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, the Hulk. They had a Hulk movie previous to that. They laid out the universe and then they did Avengers. They tried to jump like right to
They started Superman and Batman out in the Dark Knight.
No, they didn't. They didn't. Like the initial idea was that there was going to be a universe built, but executively they neutered Zack Snyder.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the Justice. Well, just differentiate between the two people then, because Zack Snyder had an overview for everything, how to evolve the universe, but the executives overrode him. And I'm not a Zack Snyder fan, so I'm not like defending him. Yeah. But the thing is, there was a plan of how to introduce all these characters in a more logical way. That was then, because what was it? Man of Steel came out, and already the executives at Warner weren't 100%. The fans weren't gaga over the movie, and so the Batman
backlash
mandated by Warner Brothers. Zack didn't want to make that movie next. That was a Warner Brothers decision. Yeah. So and then Justice League was supposed to be a 2-part movie, like a 2-parter. So there was some stuff that didn't happen. And like I said, I'm not defending Zack Snyder, but I think that it was a clusterfuck. Like I think like they didn't trust Zack Snyder's vision enough, once it started, and then they tried to course correct in the middle, and they just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, so everything that guy. Yeah, that guy.
It's such a shame.
In charge of Warner's. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just such a shame because with the DC roster, wonderful characters with a huge history that everybody likes, and
they're made for blockbusters.
Well, forget it, man. It's like all the stuff that's being left on. I knew it was never going to work when, because it was after Marvel started their thing and everything was just going gangbusters. And Warner's response to that was to put out that fucking Wonder Woman TV show. That campy, and I was like, "Wow, you just don't get it."
Oh God, that one with Adrian Pilecki.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh my God,
that's
terrible.
That's on YouTube somewhere.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it too. They had nobody at the wheel.
I was like, "This, you're not. You're kidding me."
Yeah,
Marvel
nobody
does
at the
this,
wheel.
and this is your response. It's like you just knew that no one was steering the ship,
And there was some crazy, like I said, I can't remember the guy's name. The guy, he was the executive was in charge from Warner Brothers, but he was putting these crazy restrictions on them, like the movies could no longer than 2 hours. Like he's like, you have to like cut this out, and like he wanted everything to be dark, and it was like he was putting all these restrictions in there, and you had multiple people that were supposed to be in charge of the show, and they were all button heads.
Yeah, I think
initially what they did is they bought Zack Snyder's vision, hook, line, and sinker. Right? They didn't know any better, and so then they give him a bunch of money. They give him the green light to do this stuff, but he was never the right guy to do it to begin with. The DC universe is not a hopeless universe. It isn't filled with darkness. There's a
especially Superman.
Right, there's dark characters that exist within the universe, but the universe itself is not dark. And so it went dark, it went cynical, it went in that direction. So they just tried to course correct. But I'll tell you, like they should have known he wasn't the right guy from the beginning. So I kind of blame Warner Brothers leadership.
Do they know the difference? How many people in a film studio really understand comics, though? I mean, it's you got to. Comics is a super specific medium. It's not like any other, and you can port things into film and make wonderful movies. But if you don't understand comics, you cannot make a comic book film ever work. You got to have that foundation. Right. That person has to live and breathe comics. He has to grow up with it.
And I think Zack Snyder did live and breathe comics, but not the DCU stuff. He loved all the Frank Miller stuff. He loved all the Alan Moore stuff. He loved all that more adult stuff because that's where he was pulling all his ideas from. And that's just the wrong way to go. I always said, like, the reason the Marvel Universe worked overall is because they established a tone. They established an acceptable tone that was very entry level. right? You didn't have to.
And then you have somewhere to go. Yeah.
Right. And then you can go comedy, you can go darker, you can go dramatic, you can go anywhere from that tone. But once you start dark, like with Man of Steel, that's it.
Yeah.
You're
done.
It all has to be that.
The end of the Bronze Age comics. It's Dark Knight, it's Watchmen. It's when the innocence in comics is lost. It's when it goes dark, and those were gangbuster fucking books. But they were so big and so successful. It's because they came from something that wasn't that, and then they fucking landed, and that's why they made. But everything after that just kept copying that, and that's why none of it has the same impact. Nobody remembers whatever books came out right after. So,
you can go dark after you've established
like
and
the
a
DC
baseline
universe,
of superhero stuff. You can
and then you can wind up there. I mean, to do that dark Zack Snyder
to just
type
start
of
out
fight,
with Superman and Batman hating each
that should
other.
be your payoff, if anything.
Well, Zack Snyder's
tremendous
pitch to
impact.
Warner Brothers. Zack Snyder's pitch to Warner Brothers for Watchmen was that this is the right time to do Watchmen because cinematically speaking, the Spider-Man movies have already, the Tobey Maguire and some of these comic book movies existed, and they set a tone. So then a new audience that didn't know comic books could accept what a deconstruction of a superhero story was, which is what Watchmen is. So, like you said,
I gotta say, I kind of like the Watchmen movie. I know it's not perfect.
No, but I'm just saying that's how he sold it. Zach came in like this is the right time to do it because cinematically speaking, things have already been established. So a movie-going crowd could understand a little bit more of what a deconstruction of a hero was, where if you just released the Watchmen without any of that, it was a tough sell to begin with.
And you can't shoehorn every character into the Dark Knight world anyway, because it's the Spider-Man movies. I don't think they're perfect. Spider-Man's my favorite character ever.
Right.
Live and breathe Spider-Man. I owned Ross Andrews' last drawing in his life. It's I love Spider-Man, but at least with the Spider-Man movies, in the tonality of it, they get it. There's got to be some levity, but it can't be silly. And you got to have action. You got to have some personal drama with the guy. They got the vibe at least on screen.
Yeah, the tone.
Right, and that's the same thing though. But Superman is not Superman in general is not Superman that we see in the Dark Knight. That's a specific one-off of that character.
Well, those were Elseworld stories, yeah.
Well, but once you get to that point, there's all kinds of dark versions and stuff. But but Superman, as you know him, I mean, he doesn't have to be the Superboy Scott, but the Christopher Reeves thing,
Donner got it right.
Yeah. Right, that's Superman. And you could bring him to that moment where it could be a Zack Snyder type representation. But you can't start there with Superman. I think that's far too dark.
Just think about eventually, like if they did it right, establish Batman on his own, Superman on his own, do a Justice League or a Batman Superman at that point. If you establish Superman in like the way he really is in like a hopeful world, all this other stuff, and then you showed that Batman was really dark, then cinematically or dramatically, now you have two different characters that you've established that were completely different. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Then
you can throw them together, and then it becomes dramatic because these characters do not see eye to eye, but you've established the tone of it so that it feels real, it feels sincere, it's believable. But the way they did it, it's like they had to speed up, like artificially Ben Affleck's character.
They crammed it all together.
To hate Superman in a very artificial way, and it felt phony and it felt forced. And Batman looked like a schmuck.
What you got, Todd?
It was dark Superman. It was dark Superman versus darker Batfleck. It was just no.
What's your name? There's your name, Todd.
But that's not DC.
One of the other missteps that Warner Brothers kept making is the way they would announce, this is what we're going to do, and F you if you don't like it.
Yeah.
No one look when they announced the Joker movie, we're like, why do we want a villain movie? It was an excellent movie, and if you had announced it the right way and showcased it the right way, it might have even done even better. It was a really, really good story and a great movie, but they kept throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what would stick. And then when people were like, "Whoa, no, we don't want a black Superman." It's not that we don't want a black Superman, but just say what it's going to be. It's going to be this guy from this universe, and it just comes off wrong. Like they go after the guy, Takeshi, is it Takeshi Coates or whatever, and he's going to.
Yeah,
they don't endear themselves to the audience even right out of the gate.
Yeah,
I agree.
Another problem with Superman at this point is they've had so many film failures, that they keep doing reboot after reboot after reboot. Yeah, I mean, how many times do we need to see Lex Luthor in the movie? And Superman's villain roster is a little bit weak relative to someone like Batman.
I would love to see a cinematic version of Brainiac, though. I think.
Oh my god!
Yeah, but really awesome. You won't. You'll get Lex Luthor again, the 15th version. It's just like, you gotta, even if you're gonna reboot yet again, you gotta find another angle, and you gotta save Lex for later. You just gotta put him on the shelf for a while. It's like, you can't use him every time.
He's the mastermind behind the scene.
Yeah,
so you could do that, right? You could have. You can have a few.
He's the power behind the throne.
Off, right? Yeah. Like maybe you can make a Riddler movie, and then the Joker could be the secret mastermind. That would be a good idea.
Yeah. And they tried to do that at the end of the Justice League movie, but it was too late, and it was dumb, and it was all just it wasn't done right. It wasn't well thought out, and they missed a really good opportunity, because I do think that the general movie-going audience is kind of getting fatigued. They're getting superhero fatigue, and I think
at this point,
I think.
But here's the thing: I honestly think that if DC were to do like a soft reboot and keep Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, keep Henry Cavill as Superman, keep the majority of the cast, and maybe recast Batman. I don't know.
Can't use the young man.
Yeah, because I think that situation is sailed. If they did a soft reboot, I think there's enough interest in seeing what they could actually do. And if they actually tried to do what they originally wanted to do, that you might be able to pull some of that off.
Yeah, like the DC universe done right in movies would just be.
It's fantastic, and that's the thing. We haven't seen it done right. That's the problem.
Yeah, but meanwhile, like Marvel's like, fuck that. We'll put out a Groot movie or whatever, and they'll make it work. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy. Come on, that's like.
I saw the greatest post the other day. Is we're getting an Ant-Man trilogy before we see 3 Superman movies back to back to back.
Yeah.
Ouch.
That's how Marvel is destroying them.
I was going to add, like Marvel destroyed DC with B and C level characters. DC came out the guns out of the chute with the big guns, and they blew it. The Trinity, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. You have more things going for you with those 3 characters than Marvel ever did, right? And they couldn't even touch what Marvel had accomplished, and that means you really blew it, man. Yeah. When you can't make those 3 characters work, then you really, really blew it, because they're iconic.
You had that one magic moment where Wonder Woman first comes on the screen with them, and you're like, "Shit, man, this is what it's going to be." Wow. Cool. But it was just that moment. It was like,
it wasn't.
Wow.
It was just that though. It's like how long? I mean, what? 30 years? Fans have jock rocked Batman versus Superman in their head, and
they couldn't even get the title right.
And then we get this thing which is like Batman's like being completely irrational about why he's got a problem with Superman and all that stuff. It's like,
his story arc parallels Lex Luthor, who's the villain.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
And remember, he started off really bad right off the bat because Bruce Wayne got off a helicopter to go to Metropolis. That was fucked up right off the bat. Yeah, he should have flew there in his bat
plane. Yep.
Yeah. It just
there's like a little plot hole there. It was like how close are Gotham City and Metropolis to each other?
They're not supposed to be that close.
Because apparently the way the movie makes it look like they're across the lake from each other.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like I was like, no, that's Gotham and Bloodhaven. You know, that's not Gotham and Metropolis. Metropolis is supposed to be like 3 states away.
Just,
Well, remember the
nobody
old
pay
DC
attention to
Comics
this part
maps?
where they just kind of skip from Gotham to Metropolis.
I remember those DC Comics maps.
Yeah, and they, and anyway, Metropolis I think was like New York, but Gotham was like Baltimore or something. I can't remember exactly. And Central City was.
I'm Midwestern, so I always think that Gotham is Chicago,
And,
but it's
Gotham
not really. That doesn't really fit either.
Gotham
They used to try to put out.
I always thought that Gotham was Detroit and that Chicago used to be the shiny city. It used to be a while ago, right?
I thought Chicago. I thought the Central City was like Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay. But to me, like Gotham was always Detroit, man.
But what about the Detroit Justice League? Then that doesn't work.
Yeah.
None of it really
Oh
worked.
my god!
Hey, let's wrap this up, man.
It's just like, I hate all you nerds.
My head started to hurt right now.
I'm just saying it was in continuity. So I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Art, we're
very
past
first
2 hours, man.
job in comics is I inked a Justice League cover with Luke McDonald on that Justice League.
on which Justice League?
On the Justice League Detroit, basically.
Justice
The
League
Detroit
Detroit.
Justice League.
Yeah.
That's
It
awesome,
all
man.
comes full circle.
Was a
We got-
gypsy,
I'll tell you
gypsy
what.
cover.
We
If you
gotta
just
do.
nerd out hard enough, it all comes out full
We gotta do
circle.
another stream with you, man, and just start and just talk the.
Oh,
the
yeah, we
old
gotta
school-
pick your
old school
brain
comic
about the old
DNA,
school
man, and
stuff.
just
Yeah.
go through all the old school stuff.
We're
Yeah,
always
dude.
we are
We're
always
tired of
picking
getting
at
tired.
art, so.
Yeah, we're getting tired of art stories.
Yeah,
There's a lot of good stories that happened in the
no,
office.
dude. Let's do a show on comic book geography. It was.
We'll put everybody to sleep.
Yeah.
And Ruth Buzzy.
And yeah, we'll talk 2 hours about
Oh
Ruth Buzzy
God.
and how epic it was. All right, well we have a parting shot time. So Clint, what do you got for us?
Nothing, I guess. I found it amusing. The Zaslan Batgirl execution. That scared a lot of people that are heavily leaning woke. Like that was the bell that was rung for them that opened up their eyes. That it's like, guess what? All of a sudden, maybe you need to make money with your comics and not just turn everybody woke.
We'll find out like what he does with Aquaman and what he does with the Flash is going to be the telling blow.
And I mean, maybe nothing comes of it, but I mean, you kind of started to see a pattern here with the CW, with the Batgirl movie now, and I mean, DC Comics is just sitting there not making a dime for a while now.
At the end of the day, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make money. It doesn't matter what it is. You can't continue it. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Well, hopefully they're starting to figure this out. Also, you guys, Clint does have a YouTube channel. He's got Pirate Queen and Slave Girl from Planet
Slave Girl.
Yep, Slave Girl from Planet X and Pirate Queen. Both are still in demand on Indiegogo, so go check them out. Pirate Queen is actually going to the printers just as soon as Mandy finishes shipping Jack the Ripper. And Slave Girl will be coming out later this year. So you just kind of keep the ball rolling.
We'll do the full title, Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper Vampire Hunter. It was a great concept.
It's a neat idea.
Oh, it's a neat idea. They hit the jackpot with that.
Yeah.
Like talk about a concept and idea that can be translated into movies, TV shows, streaming, anything. They hit gold on that one.
Yeah, they sure did. Okay, Todd, you're up.
Just be on the lookout for more information about the Supernatural Wrestling League. It's going to be a graphic novel, no more than 80 pages, maybe a series of graphic novels. But there's a lot of things in discussion. But it is definitely going to make it out.
Nice.
Love the art,
love
Todd.
that.
Zoom in on that guy's abs. That is awesome art.
Yeah.
Zoom in, man.
I just like it's like those
cool.
because I used to collect it because I'm a big wrestling guy, and I used to collect those old school WWE and WCW cards, and they had that weird logos kind of thing going on like that.
That's great art, Todd. I love it.
Very
Thanks.
cool, man.
It looks great, man. You
Here's
have
a
or is that you have other images?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is the one I just finished inking.
Oh, there's some nice
While we were
clean
doing
inks. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Let's see some detail.
Ruben, zoom, zoom, zoom.
Nice.
Oh, that's a beauty.
Ah, look at that.
She's a beauty. She's 1 in a million.
Hotness.
Oh, that's some nice clean line work though too.
So yeah, just be on the lookout. I might start some kind of what do you call it? Email
Mailing
page.
list?
Yeah, mailing list.
Well, it's like a
Because when
pre-launch,
it started
right?
out, they were NFTs, and inside the NFT was info where you'd end up on the mailing list where you would get 20% off the deck and something off the graphic novel and stuff like that. That's how this all really started, was me adding utility to my NFTs and wanting to do something where I was funding a deck, like a 100-card deck, and then I was turning that into funding a comic. So we got it off the ground, and that's what I'll be working on now.
Sweet, it looked good. So what do you got, Pedro? Parting.
Well, back Tropical Magics. There's a lot of things going on the Pedro Ang front. There's a lot of animation coming for you guys by the end of the year. I'm going to be very happy to announce things very, very soon, and working with John Hervey and some IPs, and we're going to get, like, for real, serious
Nice.
animation for CG. So
That's awesome, dude. I love John.
And
Yeah.
isn't there something else, Pedro?
oh yeah, also black and white.
Oh no, a tropical
Hi,
magic.
thing.
But you can
No,
go black and white.
I did mention Tropical Magic, didn't I?
Yeah.
Did I mention Tropical Magic? Yeah, I did. Yeah, back Tropical
Pedro,
Magic.
Pedro,
There you
please
go.
back
On the
Tropical
brand.
Magics before
Yeah.
you back Art's $110,000
Yeah.
campaign. 'Cause
No,
he's
the
so,
thing is, like,
he's
dude-
so hurting for attention.
Yeah, so hurting for attention. No, the thing is, like, yeah, I did finish the black and white high octane. I'm very proud of that work.
It looked fantastic.
And yeah, Tropical Magics is done. We're setting up the printer files. Like, I lost 11 days in Riot, so I'm getting back on the saddle. But we're going to print very, very soon, and you're going to get the book in your hands really, really soon, guys. So yeah, back it.
Sounds great, man. Sounds great. So yeah, I gotta share something with you guys. There's a little nugget right here. Something I'm very, very proud of. And that is Black and White Volume 2, Man versus Machine. In a world where law and order is often blurred to gray, justice can only be black and white. So I want to thank all the backers, all the supporters. We are at $111,445, and we have 1,322 backers. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for turning this into a colossal success. There's a lot of fun stuff here. There's the main cover. There's the Kenneth Roquefort variant, and then we have the Joe Bennett, the incredible Joe Bennett variant, and then we have some guy named Pedro Ang's animated high octane adventure written
Who's that
by.
guy?
Yeah, he's a
Who's
pretty
that
good
guy?
guy. Yeah, we like him. And then the writer on that is Von Klaus, so he's Monster MD and Black
Terror in the Trenches.
Terror in Trenches. Yes, I always want to say Black Terror. That's the character. So yeah, we got that, and then we do still have the Second Chance, Volume 1, or second printing, I should say, of Volume 1 with the new cover on it, because we completely sold out of the first printing, and then we still have a few of the Greg Capullo variants.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, left. And then if you guys want original artwork, this is the only place right now to get original black and white artwork. And these are the layouts for the book. And I think we have a few more left. Let me check real quick and see where we're at. 31 out of 63. So we're about halfway with that. So there's still some room for backers. And yes, most of them are this tight as far as layouts are concerned. And so then there's a bunch of stretch goals, guys. The link is in the description. Come by if you like what you see, back it. And I do believe that Clint's book is in the description, as is Pedro Ng's book as well. So, Chris, what do you have as a parting shot?
Oh, for me? Yeah, I need everybody to watch that Batman Gate 2 video.
Yep. Link is in the
That's-
description,
that's-
guys.
yeah.
Go sub
And then,
this channel.
Yeah, next month we'll be launching the Indiegogo campaign for a Penelope Powerhouse.
Woo!
You know,
Very
Where
good.
can I rewatch that video?
it's
You know?
I don't know. And, Full Blown Psychosis
Yep.
is the name is my YouTube channel.
Yeah, the
It's,
link is in the chat, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Go
Yes,
check it out.
And also, this is a good point. CG Vacation it's in demand now.
Yep,
Bob,
it's
or
in
is-
demand. Yep.
and it's going strong. And all the CG creators pretty much put pieces in there. So there's a black and white piece in there that I think you guys are really going to dig. And
Joe's got a piece in there.
And the Zaid brothers are fantastic, and they fulfill. So no risk there. And yeah, thanks, guys. So all of us have YouTube channels. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming on. This was a
Hey,
blast.
thanks,
Awesome.
thanks for putting the word out, man. Really.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
I really
Definitely.
appreciate
And we'll
it.
keep it going too.
Yeah, you're always welcome. You're always welcome
Thank
here.
you.
And thanks to everybody in the chat for hanging out. I know there's a lot of competition, so we do appreciate you coming in and spending some time with us. So this is a weekly show, Pontificators. As long as there's no illnesses or countries being taken over by madmen or anything like that, we pretty much keep a weekly schedule. So we let's knock on wood. We'll see you next week.
Well, other than COVID and gas riots,
We might
here
get
all
knocked
day.
off.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
man.
I don't have any wood. All I have is glass.
Matt
around
Reeves
it.
might put a hit out on us because of this show. So
Yeah. Well, the porn bots are attacking. They're
The
swarming
porn
in.
bots are attacking.
The
That
porn
might have
bots
been my
are
fault.
That
Yeah.
sounds
Matt
so
Reeves-
wrong.
Matt Reeves and the porn bots.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
sexy beast, Clint.
hit
All
up
right,
the chat.
man. We'll see you next week. Take care, guys.